Welcome back, everybody, to your favorite 420 podcast. You already know who this is, your main host, Gino. And today's guest on tonight's show, it's a familiar face that you guys seen before on the pod. And it's our main guy, Jason from Ilnewsjoint, the guy that wrote our first article. So welcome back to the show, my guy. Pleasure to have you again. And like I just mentioned earlier, the right way, because we both smoking tonight. So let's dig into tonight's episode, my guy. You really need no introduction. Everybody should know who you are, because actually everybody in Illinois, cannabis industry should know about Illinois' news joint, man. So. Well, what's the new updates with you guys been going on?
First, thanks for having me. Well, as we were saying, it's been more than a year since I've been on here, and I always do a 1 year and a 5 year look back. I've done that for a long time now because it's hard. When I was teaching, I used to do a metaphor for writing and how much your writing is improved. And when you do a little bit every day and you try to get better and better every day, you don't know the progress you're making. They have what's called diagnostics test that you do, an essay at the beginning where they write, and then you do a kind of similar one at the end, and you can compare them. It's the same way here. I always say to them, like, you don't really know how much you're improving or advancing or getting better. It's like having a little sister or something that goes off to camp for 2 weeks, and she comes back, and she's 3 inches taller, and you notice that. But if you're with her every single day, like you are, you don't notice the growth.
Mm-hmm.
So looking back, we've added several services, including starting hosting events, offering a bar service that we have, cannabis bar service that we rent out to weddings and other events. Um, what else have we had? There's probably 3 or 4 things probably since then that we've done. I mean, I always try to do, add at least 1 or 2 things a year. So that sounds about right.
Gotcha. So I know we caught up a little bit at NECAN. So how was NECAN for you overall this year? I know because was this what your second time going to NECAN?
Third, I think.
But-
Yeah, third. Uh,
so how was it?
I like Nikan. It's a different crowd. It's also, you know, for us, right around the time Nikan comes, both of Michael and I are both kind of burned out for some reason. It's just, but you go to Nikan and you get people, they come up to your booth and start talking to you, and they're interested and they're enthusiastic about, what they're doing and what you're doing. And it just feeds into, reassuring yourself that you're doing what you want to do and stay in this lane and keep going. Because everybody's always doubting themselves for some time, and I've doubted myself on this thing 100 billion times, um, right recently even. But those events really help in when people come up and just affirm that what you're doing is worth what you're doing. The news that we're covering, and the reviews that we're doing, and those types of things. That people want those, and that there's a outlet for them now, and that there's a demand for them.
Gotcha. And for like the dad bar service, tell us a little bit more about that, man. Like I know you were mentioning over in person off the record, but like you're partnering up with brands and stuff like that. So
Yes, we just do it the normal legal gifting way that you go about it, and then we do weddings, events. It just depends on what you want. We have the full bar service from edibles, drinks, flower, concentrates, plenty
mhm.
of equipment to use for those. So it's just really custom made. Do you want to, is it a big event? Is it a stoner event, or is it just a family event where there might be a couple or people trying? Those are all different things that got to consider in what you're offering. And then some just have, they want this or that, and that's easy. That's the easiest way. And then, some you have to explain what the edibles are and how much they are and what you can eat or not, how much you cannot eat or whatever.
Has there been any complicated times of like doing a dad bar like for an event? Or
No, most of them has been pretty. most of the events go pretty smoothly because people are there to get high. So
Oh, okay.
they're wrapping up that dad bar and they're like, we're ready.
Uh,
But yes, the gravity bong that we have, that thing, it'll fuck you up if you're not careful. I mean, all of it will basically. And that's
yeah,
another thing is you just got to have bud tenders who are experienced and know, you know, ask questions and figure out what that person who's on the other end is. Are they, just the first time they've ever smoked? That's a different story than somebody who comes up and has been hitting dabs all day.
yeah, that is true. Because you'll just have like probably just somebody just in a specific area than someone that's kind of broadened their horizon, by trying different shit and products, stuff like that. But what are you smoking on tonight, my guy?
My homegrown green crack that I grow every time I grow a grow cycle. It's my favorite weed. It's just motivating, happy, keeps me up, energetic.
Hmm.
Um, so pretty much work weed for me. I like it. The flavor is really good. It's just really creamy mango. Um, so it's one of my top, probably my favorite until I find another strain that I like as much as this one, and then I'll grow it over and over and over. I have several sativas that I grow that I like that I mix up.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny because you just mentioned green crackers. Actually, like I told you earlier before we started recording, it was that I had to re-listen to our first episode, and I got to a point where we were talking about you were talking about how one of your students when you were teaching gave you some green crack.
That
Yeah,
was my
yeah.
first introduction to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was like, that's hilarious. No, yeah, today I'm actually smoking on some shatter. It's actually from Boston Buds. They're a THCA company. So it's actually I did a review for them and it was interesting, man. I mean, THCA, what's your input on that, man? Like, what you think about THCA?
There's no difference in it. The issue with me is that most of the for like edibles and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
they're actually really good to hit highs, but that's not what I'm looking for in an edible. I have chronic pain, so I'm actually looking for muscle relaxation and everything. And though that THCA is not psychedelic in the head, it does have body effects, and the lower you pull that down, for me, it seems like the less body effects that I get out of it. The higher the THCA number is, seems usually the better effects I get out of it. So it may not be getting you higher in the head, but I think it doesn't do well for me as something that would have a higher THCA. But overall, it's the same plant, same thing. There's no difference in it.
Why do you think like people are like always having like a mix of fusion on like this time on like overall like I guess cannabis, like by terms and stuff like that, like for example, like right now like THCA, I feel like majority of people would think of it like, it's not like, you know, real weed or like they'll compare, close to or say something like it's like kind of Delta 8 or something like that, like just synthetic, like
It's not. I mean, there's THCA that's under the 0.3% farm bill that's in dispensaries right now. So technically, that would be and people who can just find those strains that have that in low quantities, and also you can, depending on how early or late you chop it, you can make that go up or down. There's all kinds of things you can do to manipulate it as well. So again, there's no difference in it. It's the same thing. It's the plant's the plant. Now,
hmm
how it got that way is because government trying to regulate it, and you know when you're trying to, you know, regulate compounds and cannabinoids, and I mean that's not going to work. So through the hemp farm bill regulation, that got put into to where this was understood now that 0.3% THCA is actually hemp and not, you know, I guess whatever you want to call the other. I mean, again, it's not. There's no difference in it. It's just a loophole ish whatever you want to call it. I don't like the word loophole because it's not a loophole. It's following the law that our federal farm bill set, and then established that that's legal now. So it's legal because of regulations, not because of anything that farmers and the hemp farmers or cannabis farmers or any growers or any dispensaries or any had anything to do with.
Mhm. No, yeah. But like, sorry, man. It's because I actually before this I actually was smoking on some another. I was smoking on a joint called Jordan's by Grassroots. I'm not sure if you smoked it before. Uh, but it came from the Best in Grass little Judge kit that I picked up from on the hybrid, which we could get a little deep into that. Did you guys get a kit?
I wasn't able to get up there in Wheeling because we live in central Illinois and southern Illinois. So, and
Uh-huh.
we were going to event the dates up there. So not yet. I'm working on it. So we'll see if it happens.
Gotcha. But anyways, so yeah, so I'm pretty buzzed with that, but but I feel like overall with the THCA, man, like with these like especially with these dabs, I kind of did notice that you know uh for me just in general, I feel like I had to take a little more than what I would usually do uh from just a normal, I guess I don't even want to call it a normal dab, but I guess quote unquote normal dab. Uh, but I do kind of I don't see any difference in between these two, especially in the moment where because I'm not gonna lie, it does get me like high. Like I can't say I'm not sober. Or, I'm not saying that it's not like some Reggie shit or anything like that. But again, I think as well. I think it's like it's like the lack of education, I guess, for some people, or just like kind of just not expanding their knowledge. Because I feel like within this industry, it's like you gotta talk, but like you gotta know what you're saying, Because I feel like sometimes people will be looking at you like, what are you saying,
I mean, again, this is going to get brought up here in the veto session for the Illinois House and Senate when they come back. So there is the hemp bill. It's still sitting there. They could vote on it anytime and go straight to the governor for vote. So this could get eliminated, and that could get where you can't do that in Illinois anymore, or not, depending.
know?
So uh, there's if they did, ban all THCA and THC, um, then you wouldn't be able to get any of that THC, meld, or you wouldn't be able to go to a CBD shop and buy any of that stuff anymore.
So
Yeah,
yeah. So we do need that hemp building. So you can't really hate on them.
I'm interested in this battle. I mean, I don't have a dog in this fight, but it's interesting because it's what I don't like about it is that it's making two factions of the cannabis industry almost be enemies when it's the same fucking plant. And it's not those two factions that are causing that. Again, it's how we are trying to regulate this plant federally and state to state, which is different, state to state. So um, what I get mostly from both sides is they just want to know, you know, they want to know what it is that they have to follow and then do that. And not have the gray area, not have both sides, or doing whatever it is that one side's blaming the other side for. But there's got to be some kind of way that you can protect hemp farmers and what they're doing, which is, I think literally saving the planet if we just used hemp the way we could. And then, all the way down to your CBD shop that's selling, bunk ass Delta 26,000 or whatever it is that, it's synthetic crap.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a middle way to protect that side and, also protect consumers who are, are consuming products they probably shouldn't. Now, if we come, do we get to that decision somehow politically? Yeah, I'm usually pretty I cynical when it comes to offering that up. So a lot of times I don't have that much hope. But this one again, I don't. Most of the time I can kind of tell what direction politically stuff's going. With we'll see what happens here. And I mean, well, shoot, we're only a few months away.
Yeah, that's very interesting, especially with this whole convention that was happening in here in Illinois, in Chicago too. But what do you think this is going so far?
Just the hemp in general, or at the industry, or
Y-
which.
Well, yeah, yeah, first let's say the industry first.
I mean, I think it's just going in the regular direction that legalization industries go. We're a little slower, a little more regulated. We have higher taxes and higher prices.
Yeah,
Uh,
sadly. But do you think that is it going to change that, or you think we're just gonna stay at that level?
I mean, taxes, I'm not sure if that's ever going down. We don't, in Illinois, we don't go backwards on taxes. Once you get them up, we've done it maybe tax ones, but that was, I mean, for gas, but
Mm-hmm.
that was a whole different story. But usually the taxes don't go back down. So not much hope on that. Uh, but I mean, there are plenty other things that Illinois could do to improve its industry and make it better and more profitable. Some of those people are fighting for and some people are fighting against. Again, there's always some balancing battle between, you know interest on both sides, all the stakeholders who are involved. What I always say is somebody's always poking their finger in it, and I don't want that, or I want this, or whatever it is. And as a politician and somebody who's voting and people that's in your district, you have to listen to those people. So
So like, is it at the end? Is like what we the people like kind of have a bigger saying because like again the politicians have to like have to like listen to us.
I mean, if you're making enough noise, either
Hmm.
they or whoever's fighting against you will, or whoever you're fighting against, or you know, I'd rather just say that what we try to do is fight for what direction we want it to go. What's in the past, learn from that,
Hmm.
don't do that shit again or whatever, or try to change it. But if you really want to change it, how are you doing it? One of the ways we're doing it is we're going to, this year, earlier on in the year, we decided that we were going to really try to promote craft grows because a lot of them are just coming online. And we've had the MSOs out for a long time that we've been covering plenty. So one way we decided to do that was put on this Illinois Craft Showcase event, to actually do it. If a lot of people say we support this or support that, but really the way you support shit is you just do shit for them. So this event is just specifically for that. We're just trying to make people more aware of craft grows in Illinois and the new uh, craft licenses that are coming online. There's so many more that have licenses that are not, what what's the word for it, that they're just not ready to come online yet for multiple reasons. So the more people know and the more people like their products, the more that push for that direction is going to go.
Yeah, like I'm sure like helping them out, get their word out, but like helping them, reach to whatever it is that they need for that step to get elevated, to because again, like how you said, like probably like most of these craft growers are still getting up, and then again, like I guess we kind of also question like why is it always that every dispensary kind of has the same thing everywhere you go. Like it's never a dispensary where they have only like some certain stuff or like so and some other dispensaries just hold some other stuff that you can't get at other dispensaries, you know? Like it's all kind of you see the same brands or the same strains by different companies. And I mean again, like each strain from X company is gonna be different than the same strain that is from Y company, you know, like it's gonna be two different strains. But again, it's like as a consumer, I feel like you get tired of smoking and tasting the same thing over and over. You feel me?
Yes, and I mean what we've sampled and reviewed of the craft grows flower has been really good. Again, these most of these craft grows are they're really something that we relate to. They're a really small group doing all the work. I mean, if you own your own little company, you do everything.
Hmm.
You're on every aspect of what you get done. So if you're not doing it, then nobody's doing it.
Hmm.
So for one of them, we were in contact with them, and I was trying to reach them, and he called back and said, sorry, I was on the line. I was like, what line? And they make pops, infused pops. That he was working the pop line and the assembly line and making the actual pops and bagging them up or boxing them up and getting them ready. And then there's the other growers that I know that the head grower is trimming his own weed. So, I mean, he's hand trimming it. So the detail in that is you're not going to get that elsewhere. And also, all that energy and that goodwill and the people who are putting the grind in and focusing, for a really good product, I think that means something. If you're talking about vibes, those vibes are true. And when you're doing it right.
Is that is from like I guess you like talking to these craft growers and getting to know them and all like is there products that we're missing here in the industry?
Yes, I mean,
Is it like something new though, or
yeah, I mean, it's just again, there's smaller
yeah,
growing facilities, so you get more detail in each plant.
yeah,
Just that simple. The bigger you are, the harder it is. And that doesn't mean you can't do it both ways. That doesn't mean you can't screw it up both ways. You can screw it up just as easily. Um, but again, when it's yours and only yours, and you're one of four people in the company, you don't have the option of letting it fuck up. So you're there all the time doing it and making sure it's right. And the more of these cultivators we have, that that's what's going to get our price down. So the more cultivators that come out, the more people who are growing and growing well, the more options you will have, and the more you know competition you will have between them. And then that it levels the playing field a little bit.
gotcha. So I know that you guys are doing this event up in the Parkway dispensary. So how's that going on working with the 1937 group and all that?
Good. I don't know. It's Molly's Joints, what it's called. Parkway is the dispensary there. They also have a lounge. They have a bar and a grill, and then a huge outdoor area that's fenced in. They have a stage, so it's for entertainment and everything. It's a really cool place in a semi-small rural, well, not semi, it's small town, rural area, a little south of Danville. And I think it's, in some sense, it's the way that cannabis and dispensaries are going to have to go. It's got to be some kind of, entertainment facility or multiple things you're doing at once and not just selling weed, which, there's a lot of dispensaries out now. So the land over there and the whole setup they have is really cool. Um, they have, I can't remember now. I'm just trying to think of what the actual size of the outdoor thing is, but I can't remember the feet of it.
Mm-hmm. But like have they've done other events though recently. Have you gone to up there though or down there?
Yeah, because I live 40 minutes away, so
Oh, so
they
oh,
have
okay.
they have their
Uh-huh.
own events team that put on events there,
Mm-hmm.
called No Coast Events, I think. So they're doing events all the time. We were just, placed in, we wanted to use the facilities. So they fit us into the schedule so we could host this event somewhere other than Chicago, a little down south to allow to try to build a, central Illinois and southern Illinois cannabis community.
Oh, okay, I got you. I see what you did. Okay, so this is technically the craft showcase is more of your event then.
Yes,
Gotcha. Okay,
it is
okay,
definitely
gotcha.
our event. This is our event.
Oh,
Yes.
event. Okay, okay. It's just they're just kind of like letting you guys host it then.
Yeah, we're just using the facility so we can have it,
Oh, okay. I see. I see what you mean now. Okay. All right. That's what's up, man. That's pretty cool then. Then you guys, use it because I know as well they also just like their group because I know their whole company or whatever sub company is like it's just a whole big general, the Parkway. Then they have their own like cannabis company, like their crafts and stuff like that, like the Bloom, the Lobo, the Old Pal, stuff like that. The Kush League. So yeah, so but that's what's up, man. I know
Yeah,
you did.
they have the craft grill there too. So they're building the craft grill right next to it too. So they have it all right there in the little area.
Gotcha. So I know you did also previous like this year too, right? You did one in May, really one when was the other one?
In April, we did the Eclipse in Carbondale event, and hosted a little event out there during the event Eclipse time because there's just so many people down there. And then we hosted the academic cannabis conference where we brought in researchers and professors to talk about their research on the plant. And then on the other
I
side of the
uh,
event, we had open consumption brands and other representatives and games and stuff going on.
did for that one like are you planning to do another one for that one that like to bring in professors and stuff like that or was
Yes,
that
I mean
just
I'm probably going to start planning that here in about 2 or 3 months
gotcha? And
for
it's
next
gonna be
year's April or little or probably we had that in May. We had that May 4th actually, so it'll be a little before that because that's a little too late in the academic school year.
did you go to that Enliven movie event?
I did. It was the probably the best weather I've ever been had during an event. It was so nice. It was my favorite. It was just very comfortable and a very good event.
How was it? Like
It's
overall,
great.
like
They had a great big screen where it's pretty much they had all the vendors and then the food and stuff, and then you could go around and see all that. And they started the movie, and pretty much everybody stayed there and watched the movie until it was over.
I know I just because I saw the flyer from when you were posting on the ads and stuff. You had believe it was two Michigan brands. It was Cloud9 and Knox.
Yep, Cloud9 and Knox are dispensaries that are in Peoria and Springfield now, I think too. So
Oh, really?
Knox is you know a multi-state company that has
Uh,
dispensaries that they're bringing in Illinois now. So I think that one in Springfield, maybe where that one's from, or maybe one in Springfield and Peoria now. And then what was the other one?
Cloud. I think it was Cloud9.
By Nouns is the same way. We actually have one of the here in Champaign as well.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I didn't even know that. I just recognized them because again, like I go next door to, Michigan. So that's why I was like, holy shit, like, cause I know there were like again like multi-state, but then I didn't know like we actually had some in here in like Illinois, but that's what's up.
Yeah, we've got a lot of new dispensaries, and I mean, so many of them that it's hard for us to keep track of, to be honest.
Are you starting to see like in general broad, like is it more like what parts of like Illinois you see that there's like dispensary starts to appear more?
I mean, all over, but a lot more, I think, in central and southern Illinois, and some like Springfield seems like they've popped up 3 or 4 here in the last year and a half, including Knox is one, and to be honest, I can't. I'm getting lost. There's so many, and we're trying to keep track of them too because we want to know where they're at and what they're doing, and report and do what we can. So
Mhm.
it just that's not a bad thing though. You'll see, how they go. I mean, people think dispensaries are making a ton of money, but they're not. Dispensaries are on tight budgets. They have, like, again, in Illinois, a lot of taxes, a lot of regulations, a lot of stuff they're paying out. So they may be taking a lot of money in, but they're also putting a lot of money out.
And I know it's one, it's been a while that just from us talking, yeah, but again, you and Michael, review products and stuff. But like going back to the pricing, to the taxes and all, like is the is the product worth the price?
In Illinois,
Like yeah.
I'm, I'm guessing most people are gonna
Be
say
honest.
absolutely fucking
Be
not. No. Now,
but
if it's
I
your
mean
only choice, but I
uh-huh.
guess, but we are the highest, per gram cost in all the legal states. So I'm guessing you're going to get a high percentage of people that's going to say no.
Yeah, it's always gonna say no. Yeah, I think like 9 times out of 10 is always gonna be no. Honestly, like, cause again, like coming like from a consumer standpoint, and again, reviewing products, like a shit ton of products, like
I,
you know,
the I would say if they would give the medical patients the discount or the medical, not discount, the medical taxes on the craft grow flower that's out right now, and you could get it relatively cheap that way, that would probably be some of that's worth it.
sorry, I'll
So
take it down.
that would be good. But there's so many other. I mean, that's so complicated. There's just so many other variables that are a part of that, and what makes that up and down, and you know why it is what it is. It's
Mhm.
just you can't blame one thing on it. Just politics and business and industries are that it's way more complicated than that.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, and I think that's what majority of us don't kind of like realize or focus on it, cause like again, like a shit ton goes behind the scenes of up and running dispensary, like you mentioned. Like again, like although with all the testing, they all have this type of like limit, for products to get, processed at a certain time, had to get, trimmed, packaged, tested, So like I understand maybe for someone sometimes a product isn't as great and we just wasted almost a bill on an eight and you're not satisfied with what you get. Uh it sucks, sometimes it sucks because you're expecting something, something good. Because again, you're looking at the price of a price, and then sometimes I feel like nowadays you're paying for what you're paying for what the price you're paying. You feel me?
Uh, all right, I know you're young, dude, but dude, for the first 20 fucking years of your life, you're dealing with the black market. And there is a joke, you get what you get, you don't throw a fit. So, you
Hmm.
get fucked all the time on the black market. But yes, I get your point. You shouldn't be getting fucked on the legal market because they should have it in a way that but people are, there's plenty of products out there that you're going to buy that are going to be crap, or they're just not done well, or it's a bad batch, or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Um, and usually if you have something like that, you've lost that customer pretty much forever. I mean, that customer is going to go try something else because there's a lot of other things out there. And there's just a lot more. I mean, one of the things that's kind of changed a little bit, a lot, Michael writes about this in a lot of the reviews, is we just have more products and more creative, especially edibles. So when it first legalized, you had gummies and you had chocolates, and that's
Hmm.
pretty much it. And then they expand a little more to, something else. Somebody might have uh, not taffy, but caramels, or somebody might have, something like that. But getting back to the popcorn party, That popcorn is good. I ate like three-quarter a bag, so it's very tasty. First of all, we think Enliven's a great
Hmm.
brand. In Illinois, doing the right things in the right way, doing it right, the way we think that in the industry, the direction it should be going. Uh, they have really cool products. They have the cereal bars, they have cookies. Those are pretty much relatively unique in Illinois. So they're differentiating themselves from just the normal distillate gummies. And if you got on the menu right now and try to count how many distillate gummies are offered, it's a lot. So that's a harder, competition that you're having with those. So now there's that, Sweet Buzz has all kinds of chocolate stuffed out. It's just,
Oh
it
yeah, and
it
then
tastes just like if you got it, at a chocolate store or whatever. There's and then they have the powder that
like
Michael,
yeah,
you just pour the powder in. That he was really impressed with the way it just dissolved and got into every drink that he was putting it in. So we have more access to more products now, and that's a good thing, especially medically, because a lot of people just, some people like to drink it. If it's a drink, it's a different thing to them. That's like drinking alcohol to some people that they don't, or if it's edible, a lot of people, smoking's not an option. So, the more
mhm.
options you have outside of that, I think's a good thing.
Yeah, and I think getting to that point, where it's like the beverages and like the mixing, um, just drinkable stuff. I think that makes it a little more sociable and a little more open for everybody. Because again, like you mentioned, it's like for them, it's drinking alcohol and smoking. Again, it's not like it doesn't. You don't have to just smoke to get high. Like, you know, we're kind of in an event from where we were at a few years ago. To you know, vapes, edibles, going from gummies to fucking drinks to fucking like sauces, like in ways that sometimes you wouldn't even think that you could infuse it, or just a way to get high besides, smoking. And that's pretty cool, man. Especially like how you mentioned with Enliven, that it's very different compared to all your other edible brands. And I'm sure the more creative they're getting, the better it's gonna get, And for Sweet Buds, because I actually talked to a guy up in Ecan, for what's the guy's name? Game Time. That was the brand where he was work, but he was representing Sweet Buds. I forgot the guy's name. Fuck, but but yeah. So yeah. I mean, like, it's pretty cool, man. Like, how creative people are getting, and the science behind, all this is pretty cool.
I keep joking over and over, and it's a mantra that I even was talking again today about to somebody else who sets up events, and I keep saying, if you can't adjust in this industry and do it quickly, you're not going to make it. That is one of the things I figured out is if you can't, take something that's turned around that you didn't expect and deal with it, you're not going to last that long.
And what do you mean by that? Like if you want to expand on that, like,
I mean, because the cannabis industry is always has a roadblock up somewhere. And then you're also dealing with just regular industry bullshit. I mean, that's in every industry you've ever been in that has a workforce. So the industry side sucks, uh, but I'm not sure exactly where I was going with that. What was the question again?
like what? Because you're just mentioning right now, like if I guess one doesn't adjust to how
I
this is
mean,
going, people are not gonna make it. Like,
the event side especially, but it's everything. I mean, you think you've got these stories lined out, and then it doesn't happen, or you have to do something else, or you have to find different content, or you have to figure out, or actually you gotta now that I don't have to find content. Now it's like how am I budgeting out this content in the best way possible that we have that I'm overloaded with. So uh, and then the next week it might be that I don't have enough content. How do I get the content I need that people still want to read? I don't want to put out stupid bullshit content that's not just somehow informative and a resource to our readers and followers. So the event thing, I mean, I'll give you an example, is staffing's a nightmare for people, for dispensaries, for the brands, for it's hard. Staffing's hard, especially right now. I think it's probably the hardest it's been in a while. Um,
What do
Overall,
you mean? What do you mean by like it's hard? Like what was by yeah? Like what do you mean by it's hard?
it's hard to find people who show up on time, who want to work, who want to be in the industry or don't want to be in the industry, or whatever it is. So for the academic conference, there was a store that was supposed to come and show up and vend, and the guy fired the guy who worked for him that morning that was going to go do that. So there's a missing booth table that you're not getting, or that's not happening, and how are you going to adjust? That actually happened 3 times that morning. Was 3 different reasons why, completely different reasons why vendors couldn't make it or didn't do it, and you just have to deal with it.
Wow, that's
That's really
crazy.
nothing. That's kind of a lower level things. A lot of the roadblocks are just the cannabis stuff, and especially financial. And that's not something we worry about as much as the companies and stuff. But it's still federally illegal,
Hmm.
and banking is not on board totally. Loan rates are ridiculous, or if you're in the cannabis industry, they can mark you as a or tag you as a high risk industry business. So there's all kinds of things that's going to pop up that you don't think was going to do. You have haters, reporting your stuff or trying to ban you. I don't know. And
Oh my God. Yeah, it's a lot of shit surrounding this type of business that you want to create, and build. Cause like you said, you just mentioned a shit ton of factors that could fuck up somebody's company. Um, and although one could be trying their hardest, by buy the fucking buck, and everything. It could be one little thing, man. Cause again, it's not federally legal yet. They're wanting to make it legal, federally at that federal level. Which I wanted to ask you that too, which is like, what do you think on that? Like, 'cause I think it's still up in the air type thing. I think they still are like letting people talk or whatever. But like, what do you think on that?
about the chances on it going legally federally,
Yeah.
not very good. But I think politically where we're at is the easiest sell for politicians is usually to say leave it up to the states, whatever that means. But and then that
Mhm.
way we'll have 5 years from now, almost every single state will have legal cannabis, and then it'll be politically okay for politicians to do it. Now, how fast that happens, cannabis, trajectory, and this is one thing I noticed when I was teaching is, it was under 50%, and then the time I stopped teaching, it was like up to 62. So I think from the 10 years I taught, the cannabis, if you think it should be legal or not legal, was like, I can't remember what it started as, 46% or somewhere. And then the time I left teaching was, I think it was 62. That number is even higher now. So, the normalization in every state, there's not several crazy emergencies going on because Illinois and Colorado and everybody has all these states have legal weed. That's real. If anything, it's just brought in more revenue. Most of the studies, it's not affecting teen use. It's there's a lot of positives. Not that there's not negatives, but there's just a lot of positives for it. People are not going to jail as much or hardly at all anymore for it. Although we're regulated, so that does mean there's going to be other still laws and stuff that you're not going to be able to break. That probably most of the time again, a lot of the grow laws, a lot of the other things that we have, um, those types of things.
I've talked to people about about the question I've asked you, and it's just again just picking everybody's brains out and all. But like, do you think like if it were to get to that point where it would become federally legal, you think like people would be like arrested or being fined for petty crimes?
um I mean,
that get to deal with cannabis, of
I
course.
mean, anytime you're going to make it, legalize it, and regulate it, you're going to have, if, how else are you going to punish the people who are not doing the regulations? So you're going to have some kind of enforcement on that, unless you just say it's tomatoes and it, you, as you know, anybody can sell, do, grow, or whatever you want with it, and that's a different story. We're not anywhere close there. I think the next
Yeah.
level would be not that it goes federally legal, but we have a banking bill or something that allows cannabis businesses to do transactions and do business inside all the regular credits and credit card companies and all those other people and stuff like that. So all the real
Mhm.
credits and all the people were all the capital and everything are not going to worry about getting chased down by the federal government because the banking bill would make it legal for them to do it. Once that happens, really federally, it doesn't even matter. States are just going to do what they want to do. It'll, allow people, definitely companies and stuff, to profit more in different ways too.
Is it more like of a free will thing or no?
As in what?
Because like the way like like the way like you're kind of saying it is like again like how it's like like I guess the politicians would be like the states will choose to do whatever they want. I mean, like, is that like kind of like free will then right there? Like
I mean, I would say free will would be the tomato
the
example.
tomato.
Just a tomato where you grow it like a tomato. You can sell it, you grow it, you use it,
Yeah.
you make food with it. You do. It's a plant. So I mean, that would be the ultimate legalization and decriminalization of it. You're never going to have that in a sense that we're going to regulate things. It's going to get regulated, and it's going to be now that regulation doesn't have to be so high and so many things and so often and done so well in Illinois. So there's ways to get that we could have less of that would be just fine, I think, for the industry. And that'll happen. Then again, the more you normalize it, the longer we go, the longer it's, where there's an event on your local event place, a cannabis event every single weekend, just like there's a local music thing every weekend, just like there's the local bar thing every weekend.
Right, right,
Once
you're
we
right.
do
You're right.
that, then, all the other stuff falls in place.
What about with these lounges?
Also, it falls in place because those things bring revenue. They bring taxes in. The events bring money into the place that's hosting those events. Once politicians see those monies, and this is what we see across Illinois a lot now, the people, they don't want you to host the event. Then you host the event, and they're like, "Oh, that wasn't nothing." And, wow, we actually had a lot of people buy hotel rooms, and there's a lot of taxes got boosted that day that our event was here.
Uh,
That's how you get politicians involved and get them to agree with you, is you make them money somehow on their end. As long as they're getting their cut, they'll be on your side usually. I mean, again, sorry, I'm really cynical when it comes to Illinois politics and just politics in general, but you know that's how things work.
it does, yeah. Sad to say, but yeah, it does. Especially with when it comes to that, man. I mean, everyone gets spotted, man.
I mean, I don't live too far from Indiana. My sister actually lives in East Lafayette. They're right now are surrounded by legal states. So every person, there's 150,000 people probably in Indiana that could be a medical cannabis patient right now getting treatment and getting pain treatment. And now, how many of those are coming to other states? Probably a lot. And just regular people, you're losing. Indiana's losing all that revenue. It's not stopping anybody in that state from smoking weed or buying weed or getting weed or driving across the border everywhere around them to get weed and bring it back. Um, the idea that medical patients can't get treatment just because a state doesn't want it, um, I think we're almost beyond that. And it's only a matter of time that even those states like that are going to fall in line. And we'll see. You know what? I mean, you're gonna, after this, get past this election cycle. Then
Yeah,
you have the
yeah.
4-year presidential election cycle. There's that's a lifetime politically. So there'll be so much change in cannabis and reform because there's so many young people who are just, I mean, the young people's percentages of what approval of cannabis being legal is extremely high. So those, you're not young forever. You get
Yeah.
old, and we all get old. So when you're getting older, the people behind you are already growing up with dispensaries. I mean, I have, everybody, not everybody, but I have a lot of people I know and with kids and stuff. And we know, I mean, you're in the industry, they're, daddy's going to work.
Yeah.
So what, again, normalizing it, the more it's normalized, the more that other stuff will fall to the side.
Yeah, I was about to say some shit, man, but I low key literally just lost my train of thought. Fuck. Fuck. But fuck. I'm sorry, because I was deep into what you were saying. Fuck, man. What the fuck were we
See,
just
I
talking
should have I should have rolled two joints.
You should have, man. You should roll another one right now.
I don't I suck at it. Now I'm gonna have to put it in my machine and let everybody see how bad I suck.
Hey, man, I
It's,
just
it's
started.
I mean, my whole lifetime I've never been good, so it's a running joke in my hometown friend little group. So
But honestly, I actually just because I just forgot my. Oh yes, just because he did say about the next 4 years, but it is crazy because I think this election determines a lot, man. Because one of the because again, I'm not sure if you really get into politics or not. Because you know how motherfuckers be getting with politics, man. They be getting a little up on the ass, but I'm not trying to say too much on it, but again, but like I think one of the candidates isn't a cannabis lover, so it's like fuck. From what I heard, I'm not sure if that's true or not though.
what I'll say is I was never born with the gene that the idea just to feverishly follow one team or the other. I can never do that. I can't understand it. I just don't. I don't, my brain doesn't work that way. I can't
Mhm.
follow. I mean, you're a politician. I not in that way. That's not. I don't follow anybody in that way, and it's definitely not going to be a politician. So that's my thing about it is I just the fervor in which some people are pick sides and we're so tribal and stuff, and it's just my brain doesn't work that way. Also, I've covered politics for 20 years, so gosh dang, I've seen a lot of bullshit going on. There's a lot of I covered Blagojevich. Do you know Governor Blagojevich?
Oh yeah, bro. He fucking got arrested for what, for stealing
No,
or being corrupt.
he offered Obama's senator seat up for a bribe, basically, and the feds were listening to him. So uh,
Oh damn,
but when
for
he
real.
was in office and running for reelection, he came to the small central Illinois county to speak at the uh, county capitol building or whatever. Uh,
Okay.
and I'm in there and you're covering him, and they all got their stick. It's not that they don't have a stick, but he had a little thing where his child came up and interrupted him, and he did this little thing and hugging kids, and I don't know his little. And I just like, wow, that was routine. And then I went and covered him at the next county thing because it's the same paper, same thing exactly. And it's just like I don't like kids as prop in politics. I'm not a fan of either. And so as that happened, I was like, I don't like this guy. But that's like the least of the things, that's just an observation, not an actual.
Hmm.
But to me, that's just saying something. If you're putting your little 5-year-old in front of everybody and making, him a little bit
Saying yeah.
prop, yeah, um, that's not where politics is for me. So there's other ways
Uh,
to prove you're a family man and stuff like that. If that's the image you're wanting to put out.
what a bitch move.
Yeah, I was taking photos on the top of the rotunda down at him and stuff, and the security guard just every fucking photo I had that I put. I wasn't that paying attention. I mean, I saw him watching me, but when I turned all the photos into my editor, he was like, "Hey, come in here, look at this," and he had them all up in the screen so I could like put them up one at a time.
Mhm.
and that dude was eyeing me in every single photo.
Really?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
making sure
yeah,
I wasn't doing anything
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
assassination-y or whatever. I don't know what it
yeah.
was, but definitely keeping an eye on me.
Yo, you were looking like a sneaky dude or what, man? Come on,
Yeah, because I had
Jason.
a really back then I had a really little camera, really for a work camera, not like the one I have now and stuff. So uh, well, and that's his job. I mean, you got to make sure you're protecting people.
Yeah, but it's funny. You know what? Just cause fuck it, man. Just cause we're still on this shit, and because you mentioned about the security guard, eyeing you, uh, the way I'm sure you heard about the assassination of Donald Trump. You know, up and you know what happened. You know the kid
Yes.
trying to shoot. Yeah, but I don't know, man. It's just crazy to me how this man still decides to stand up and puts his fist up in the air. And I just feel like that's I feel like I don't know. You think that's kind of played or
No, I mean,
no? You don't
like,
think
as
so?
in he set it up, or as in,
That's the thing. Who you think this set it up, man?
uh, no, I think it actually scared him, and
You
he
think
it
so?
made him. Yeah, I mean, oh, dude, somebody fucking shoots your ear. I mean, you get shot out.
But
You get a gun pointed at you. I mean, Jesus, all that is, and that makes it real. There are people who want to fucking kill you. There's on both sides, and that again, that goes back to my fervor thing. You're so jacked up about a politician and some game that these politicians are playing that you're willing to kill people. Um, Either way, even if you're right and your conspiracy on whatever it is, and Michael and I were like trying to find what's the craziest one we could find on Twitter and stuff. But even if that's right, it's the same thing. You're so jacked up on politics that you're willing to kill somebody in some way. That's not. I can't go for that.
what was the craziest thing you found on Twitter?
Oh, that I can't remember what he had. It was something about Trump and Biden was in on it together.
Oh my God.
I don't even know where it went, but it was just so ridiculous
I
that
was I was actually talking to somebody about this too, and we were saying we were ended up kind of saying that what if imagine the bank account on the kid, the surround the like the family's kid, and that's and like yeah like
well,
imagine
you want to
them.
know what I find as about as interesting as anything
Yeah.
to feed your conspiracy theory is that uh, when something happens, how often have you seen? I mean, I don't care what it is. When
Mhm.
the feds get into that person's, whoever caused it or whatever, the perpetrator, there's social media, and there's just really nothing. Who do you know that has nothing?
Like, no.
That's kind of interesting to me. Now that doesn't mean anything, but the
Yeah.
idea that that this generation, you're that age, you have zero hardly. I mean, not that's been reported. I mean, maybe they have it and we don't know or whatever it is, but most of the time, regular people can find that. You don't need the FBI's and analysts and people to do it. So that's really interesting to me that there's nothing. I mean, what else do you know about him? There's like three things they put out about him, and they were mixed. One, he registered Republican. He gave like minimal amount of money to a Democratic campaign. They has a couple photos on some kind of social media that they pulled off, and then what
Mhm.
else?
And I think like his graduate school picture, because that's pretty much what
Yeah,
he was been
that was like
showing.
an
It was
eighth
that.
grade one. So
I think so, but again, I'm not sure if it was true or not. But they were saying that I think people were like even telling I think officials that they were seeing somebody up in the roof and shit, and they weren't doing nothing about it. So it's like,
yeah, they're gonna have just like the January 6th thing where they'll go through it. They'll have some kind of thing where it'll be somebody will put it the timeline together. I mean, the FBI already has it, so eventually. I always say that the movies that are going to be made about this political era right now and these last 12 years or so, or are gonna be great. I probably won't be around for the good ones because the further you get away from the event, usually the crazier the movies get. So
Oh hell yeah! I
it'll be.
couldn't.
I just think how they'll be portrayed. 15 years from now or 20 years from now.
Oh yeah, I could imagine about this man, Donald Trump. Oh my
And
god,
and and so much of the stuff that's uh top secret that you can't get to. I mean, that stuff gets released after 25 years and everything. So in 25 years, you'll have more documentation that you could follow to make something more
some more,
documentary style.
some more alien shit, man. Some
So
more fucking alien shit.
it also, what's interesting is I mean, oh my gosh, we had a political assassination attempt on our somebody running for president and a former president, and it's our political cycle has been so freaking crazy that it's I mean, people still know, but it's not in the headlines or anything. But it seems like any other election cycle in my lifetime, I'd be in the headlines for months, you know. Um, but
Yeah,
we're in
you're right.
the world right now, and back 4 months ago, and people were talking about politics. I was like, you don't know anything. There's going to be 7 or 8 events that are going to change things on the way that you don't know is going to happen. You don't expect it to happen.
Hmm.
And this cycle has been as true to that as anything I've ever seen.
Um,
When they write
what?
historical books about this, legitimately, when the historians write these books about it, these are going to be detailed, big books, big section of our history down the road, no matter how it turns out or anything. So I think so.
That this is a big history shit right here going
Yes.
on. That we're living in history.
I mean, we've never had a former president stop running in the way that Biden did. We've had, Lyndon Johnson did it. We've had other ones in the past for other reasons, but not in this way. Not because basically you're losing and you're going to lose. And, there's nothing you can do that's going to not let you lose. Um, to switch over a whole new candidate, that's historic. They're going to look back on this and who knows how. Maybe that'll affect the future. Maybe it won't. We don't know.
I feel like this is the fight of the century.
So we'll see. It's not even that long. I mean, we don't even have to, a couple of months, and I guarantee there's going to be 2 or 3 more crazy ass things that's going to happen before we get there.
I could see that. Hell yeah, I could see that, especially of who's actually like the last two candidates, because it's only two people left now, so it's more like who's gonna take it. Um,
I got a
oh,
lot. I don't. I mean, I had a lot more touch with younger voters when I was teaching in college because they're always wanted to talk about it and stuff. Uh,
mhm.
I don't I don't have that anymore. I don't really have that as close. I mean, even Michael works for he's not a youngin anymore. So I don't really know what the young generations are thinking. I mean, the media tries to portray you in the way they want and stuff, but that's not that I never found that to be truthful in any way compared to when I was talking just to student to student to student, listening to whatever they had to say, no matter whatever they had to say. So
I feel like that just the media is just again it's just controlling and just trying to just show you what they wanted to show you, man. Um,
oh,
but
that is
again,
politics. I mean, who can fool the most people into voting for them? Isn't that the job? It's
that's pretty.
broken down into the least common denominator, I would say.
Who can fool you the best? Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. Shit, JD
Uh,
Pritzker fooled us on the cannabis legalization.
You know, other thing I said, I kind of predicted when we were talking about some people is that the next generation, and maybe it's already happened since they switched it, but when we had the two old guys running for president, I just knew that the next election cycle is going to go young. I mean, usually the pendulum will swing back and forth. So you go through presidents. One president's almost the opposite of the other president when you keep going back and forth in some way, or at least some kind of counterpoint to it. So it'll depend on, this. Well, actually, again, is everybody who acts like they can predict politics, they don't know.
It's
Act like
fucking
they know
Jason.
type books.
They don't
And I
know.
can guess just as much as anybody. And a lot of time maybe have an inside source that has, knows what they're going to do and stuff like that. That's, there are good reporters who have good stuff like that. But usually political pundits are, they're rooting and acting for a team. They're part of a industry that they get paid by. That'd be like me, going on regular TV and just
Oh
I'll
my
just start
God,
talking
working for
about cannabis over.
Fox.
Yeah, it's weed, 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 weed.
Get weed, smoke weed, buy
I,
weed, grow weed,
I
weed,
was telling,
weed,
just saying the other day, I was like, at work, I'm all day. I said cannabis, cannabis, cannabis. At home, I'm like weed, weed, weed.
weed. Oh hell no! Imagine a TV ad like that. Oh,
We'll have it eventually. It's coming.
dude.
Not maybe not a TV ad because they don't do alcohol in TV ads, but the ads are there. I mean, they have ads at the. Oh, I can't remember who had that ad. Verilife had an ad at a minor league hockey, on
Oh
the
really?
banner wall, and so that's they're looking for places, and I guarantee their marketing team and the developing team they know where the people who are most likely to buy their stuff is
Mhm.
at, and they're going to find those people and try to market to them there. And that's just another normalizing thing that's slowly not as happening as fast as all we want. But at the same time, the people outside it, how do they look at it? They might look at it like, oh, well, I don't want all this stuff around. You can't just blast it in their face, so there's going to be a huge pushback on that. But again, the slow progress that you can't figure out and you don't see coming, and you just keep doing the industry and the way you want it to go and normalizing the things you want it to normalize, and then they don't notice, and then it's normalized, and then you young folks are older, and then it's a new generation, and then you're off to a different fight or fights. It's always a
Yeah.
fight. It's never not going to be a fight
Why can't we not just have peace? That sucks. We
because
can't.
everybody
We
wants,
we we just
again,
can't. Uh-huh.
everybody wants to poke their finger in it.
It's like we can't just have that
I,
perfect world.
I can't even post a fucking. I can't even post something on our Instagram without somebody not having some peace.
Are you serious?
I don't know. I mean, we don't
Okay.
get, to be
Oh,
honest, we're actually, I shouldn't take it for granted. We don't get, what we get is people bitching about the MSOs or anything that we're covering or the news, because I'm just covering
yeah.
negative about that. I don't give a
Yeah.
shit about that. If you're not attacking us personally or, or our industry, or, I mean, our business,
Hmm.
I don't care what you're posting or anything like that. But a lot of them are just nonsensical, stupid, there's no why are you putting a little negative energy in the world for no reason?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, but like, what you think? What you think on that? Like this whole MSO and like, the boycott and shit like that.
For GTI,
Yeah.
I think, and I've mentioned this before, that it's out of all the boycotts that the Canna families tried to have since we've had legalization, this is the one that has the most traction and is actually affecting it in some way. So the boycott that the people are doing for the Illinois equity people, and everybody else, pushing it, it it's it's causing a reaction, and that means it's working in some way.
Hmm.
So I think the reason for that is because it's not the normal recreational, oh, you fucked over a rec user. You literally fucked over every medical patient. Because one of the biggest bitches we get is, again, you live up north, the old central and southern Illinois, especially southern Illinois, is rural, and it's a lot of country roads and highways. And to get to your dispensary and to get to a medical dispensary is more than an hour away for some people, and some of them have reported 2 hours away. So 4 hour trip to go get your medicine. Is that almost worth it? I mean, gas just to, so you could eliminate that if that bill would have not gotten, you know, not passed, if it would have passed and it would have allowed every dispensary in Illinois to sell medically at the medical tax rate, that would really help medical patients. It's an actual, you know, thing that works, that would work for medical patients. There's no trickery around it or anything else. All they would have to do is go to a closer place now. And it didn't happen. So that's a different story than just, you know, blocking some kind of thing that, you know, some people care and some people don't care about or something like that. You're affecting treatment for medical patients. Again, we don't advocate for anything, but we advocate for medical patients because there's no medical patient association, you know, lobbying group.
Yeah.
It's the medical patients who have to get loud enough and bitch loud enough and complain loud enough and talk to their whatever representatives or do whatever you do on your end that you think's the best way to get noise or get heard or change the issue in your direction.
So like,
Boy, you're getting me all political and shit.
oh no, I'm just trying, I'm just picking
I
your brains like.
know. I don't care. I mean, I obsessed over politics. I'm more into the numbers and stuff and crunching numbers and figuring out that type of stuff and who's doing what and what they're doing it for than again rooting for a team blindly and religiously. I just can't do that. I can't. I mean, I got married. That is probably enough commitment for me. And then we had a kid. I don't know that other. I can't commit to you and your team.
It's already too much what I'm doing in my side.
And that doesn't mean I don't have issues and I don't have beliefs and I don't, you
Yeah.
know, and I,
Uh-huh.
follow. But again, if I just follow, treat people how I want to be treated, that's usually about as simple as it gets for me. And if I'm doing that and other people are doing that, I don't give a fuck what you do and your personal life and anything else. What does that? That doesn't matter to me. I don't care your personal beliefs. You're not changing my mind. I'm not changing yours. I mean, maybe we talked it out, but, and I'd be happy to do that or what as well too. But, I just don't care enough what you think in general, politically to, you know, have that much fervor to be angry at you. If you
Mhm.
say something that I disagree with, good fucking thing. That's why we live in the United States because I don't have to fucking agree with you, or you don't have to
Right.
agree with me, and we can still
So,
be friends. That's the point. I think we need
right.
a lot more of that. That we need to get that the fringes of politics. We're pushing out on that, and most people are in the middle. They're not out there.
Again, it's just a topic that just a lot of people just get all up, like fuzzed up on the ass, man. Like,
Yeah, and
it,
it's like I understand because there are issues that directly affect you personally and has affected you in the past that you can
Mhm.
fight hard for and everything. And those people, I understand um, why they have, you know, skin in the game and why they do what they do and why they push so hard and stuff. But just because you're, you know, reading some Facebook posts and then you got to go blab at poker night about something that's not even true on fucking social media, I just don't get it.
Something they read on Reddit.
Yes. No, the older guys, the one I'm talking about, they read it on Facebook because they're older.
Oh, or 4chan.
I don't even know what the fuck Reddit is. So. I talk like I'm some young guy and knows social media.
This motherfucker. Yeah,
And
right.
I get told every month I don't know what I'm doing on social media, so I don't. It doesn't.
Ah, okay. Don't let them get to you, Jason. You know what you're doing, my guy. Come on, man.
You
You're doing
want?
what you're doing, bro.
I'll change the tone if you want me to tell you something I've been doing that's fun, that's nobody's noticed, that I've actually kind of shocked that nobody's noticed. That's entertained me in a way that I haven't been creatively and has helped me mentally, to be honest.
Hmm.
Um, Interested in that? Get out of
Yeah,
politics.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Let's see what you been on to, man.
Whenever people are saying, "Oh, make reels and make reels," algorithms want reels, and even though I'm not making the ones now that people say to make, they make the reels.
Hmm.
Well, at one time I was writing lyrics. I have a master's and a bachelor's in creative writing, so that's, I mean, I have a poetry book, I have a novel, I have a novella, you know what I mean? I've edited multiple anthologies. So the creativeness I really miss more than anything doing this job. So I was doing memes, but that just is not enough.
Hmm.
So I was writing song lyrics and I was sending them to a friend, and he has basically a little studio in his basement. He would just like rip out a song in like a week or so and send it back to him, and it was just so fun. And I was using those because I don't want to use other people's music for my reels. I want all our stuff to be personal to me, my voice. I think that means something. I think people see authenticity. Oh my gosh, well, here we go. Authentic. Oh my god, I'm authentic
Authentic.
in a way that I don't. There's no facade for me. I am who I'm too fucking old to act like I'm not who I am. I can't go the other way now. So uh, what I've been doing is he quit making the reels for me. So I was trying to get somebody else to do it. And it's just a lot of work. And then I can't write my own songs and I'm just not musically that good.
Hmm.
Lyrically, I can bang it out. So Michael's like, oh, you should use Udio or whatever the fucking name is. And I was like, all right, I'll look at it. And it's an AI music generator. You can put any genre of music, anything, and it allows me to just put my lyrics in there, and I can put it to any genre. I love matching up the genres. I love putting in what music I want, what kind it is, what it is, matching the lyrics, making it sound right. Doing whatever it does on the to make it sound right. Um,
Yeah.
every fucking one of them because I don't have as much time. But I can do it relatively quickly too, and I'm getting better and better at it to where I can, I mean, last night I banged out three in like a fucking hour and a half. I
Oh
wrote
wow.
three things. So if you go to our page, our Instagram, or any of our social media, and you start listening to all the reels we put up, those are all lyrics I wrote. Most of them are about cannabis. Some of my chains, or some are a little different. Some are all original things that I've done that I've matched up. And then the other fun part is matching up those. I have a little bank now because I have so many little music reels that I can match them up better to whatever we publish. So if I have a song about edibles, which I just getting ready to publish, then I match it up to that. Or I had a song about joints, or no, it's not a whole song, just lyrics. It's just
Yeah.
it makes you like a 30-second clip, but I usually use 12 to 21 seconds. It's been fun, dude. I like
Let
writing
me let me let me I want to
form of
hear one.
poetry, but
Uh-huh.
it's also when I first started, I thought it was like I was going to be like tell Michael is I was going to be like Billy Joel and write Billy Joel great musics and have it come back to the theme and all. That's not what it is. It's more like having Frank Sinatra musicality and phraseology to where you're finding a cool phrase and either repeating it or adding on to it and for a smaller clip, and to make them. So I'm walking around my house fucking singing my own little songs.
Uh-huh.
So and also, you can make it like it's a like a jingle and a pop, and you can put it in. I put it into that thing that I did for Shangri-La. I made them a little real music reel for it.
Oh shit.
So if you start listening to him every time you hear that, that's what it is.
I'm gonna
And
listen.
nobody said anything, so I was like, what the fuck, man? Nobody was noticing. So I started putting on all the posts, like as an asterisk that said sounds by Newsjoint Music Machine. And I was like, somebody's got to ask about that. No, nobody gives a fuck. So I found it doesn't matter. It's just interesting and it's entertaining to me.
Don't give in to the pressure.
Yeah.
Just right, right. This is you then?
It's not me singing, it's
No,
me
no, 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 but this is your lyrics.
yes. And then I decide which
Don't
version
give in
or what
to
it
the
is or what
haters.
genre of music
Just
or whatever.
grind, grind, grind,
See, that one's I posted for
grind,
our
grind,
sponsors and our
grind.
vendors at our
Yeah.
event.
Don't listen
Um,
to the whispers. Don't-
so I mean, all of them are something a little different, and
Yeah, I hear it. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
um,
I gotta listen to all of your
what
reels
comes
now.
out. Michael, he'll usually text me or say, "Oh, I like that one." So whenever I hit one that he likes, he'll be like, "Oh, that one was neat."
Okay.
I told him, I was like, I can't, I'm banging out so many of them. I was like, dude, not everyone's going to be a winner. Not everyone's a banger now. So, I said, not even the Bee Gees, they had B-side songs. They didn't write everything was great even then. So,
Oh yeah, no. That's what's up, my guy. But
it's a lot of stoner shit and
it
people
is.
like it's nobody's listening to it. It's just all about weed and shit. I just find it
Uh,
funny that nobody's commented on it. That's what has been the fun part of it.
it's just great background music. Gotta make you have my background music.
That's what I said. Is I can do it. The thing is, I can. It's easy to bang out, and you can. The I don't even. I use the free version, and if I use the paid version, you can do so much, and you can make a full song and make the verse and chorus. I mean, they add what music instrument you want here, or whatever it is. There's so many, and it's early AI, so it just every version is already just getting better and better and easier and easier.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
And the other people will be like, oh fuck you, get real musicians. And it's like, I don't have time for that. I don't. And it's my music, it's my lyrics, I'm the one putting it together. Everybody's going to be a producer. The musicians uh, are going to be not as good, I think, in the future,
No, with the
especially
way that
especially
with
all
the
around musicians like Prince and stuff like that. Stuff people are playing multiple instruments, and like that's people are going to be multiple AI and stuff.
yeah, I think we're gonna end up listening to some AI music at one point.
You already are if you're watching my reels.
Oh, then there you go. Early stages of AI, man. You're not gonna be famous. The fucking AI people are gonna be famous. They're just fucking ghostwriters.
What's
But
funny, the first
uh
time I did it, I put it in and I clicked create for the reel, and uh, I was like, I wonder how long this is going to take. And it popped up, and I was like waiting and waiting, and it popped up the song so you could play it. And I was like, wow, that was pretty fucking fast. Now I do it, and it's like, come on, hurry up. So the expectations for me are already higher than what it was when I first started.
have you been up to any like any theories? Because I know last time we talked about hella theories, like some theories. So is there any new ones or anything that we didn't get to last time?
I don't even remember what we talked about last time. I'm guessing aliens.
You did aliens. We did talk about aliens, and I
That's the
think
only
that,
true conspiracy that I'm into.
but I think that was it, man. And I was actually listening to another pod about multiverse, man, and I didn't finish the full thing, like the full clip of it, but what I was kind of getting my understanding was that I think some people are starting to make this into like a religion thing than like science, it's like a scientifical thing, and like if we believe in like the multi universe and shit like that, that then we shouldn't be that we should be like kind of fearful for it instead of like thinking like positivity about it. Again, I'm not really big or know too much of the multi-universe, but like I feel like it's just been getting a little too popular recently, man.
First of all, I mean, math is not my thing, but if you listen to the math geniuses, I mean, what they say is string theory math says that it's possible, and not just possible, but probably more than likely. So the math is there. How do you prove that? Or, I don't know. Um, for I, Again, as a creative writer, it's good for fodder and it's good for movies, and
Hmm.
and I think that's actually been in our pop culture lately. There's just a lot of movies and series that are doing something with multiverse, or different dimensions and stuff like that. I mean,
And I
there's a ton
think
of them.
yeah,
So
and
maybe it's inner conscious, and that actually brings out more art. Will bring out more of the conscious, and art feeding life, life feeding art.
I feel like ever since that, like how you just mentioned, I think that right now it's been a big thing. But I feel like that kind of just been sparking up actual like scientific or like so actual people learning about this and I don't know, like it's just like the time and age that this is happening.
Well,
with like AI, coming, getting better and stuff like that. With motherfucker, going to Mars and stuff like that now. Like it's like
AI is just like it's not just like every other technology. There are things it's
uh,
going to be able to do that we're not aware and going to be have is we're going to have issues with and stuff like that. But again, it's also in some sense the way you use technology. Are we going to use it in the proper way? They've got AI right now that's pretty much able to detect breast cancer like years before it develops. It's pointing out exactly where it's at, and then it develops there years later.
mhm,
So that technology in medicine should be, revolutionary to us, hopefully. Now, on all the other aspects, and you know, how else are we going to use it? Are we going to use it as part of our police state? We're already doing it. I mean, if you don't think our Pentagon and our CIA and everybody that that protects us in our country is not using these in the highest levels, that's naive. And
mhm,
that's not just us. I mean, that's every country that has the resources to do that. This is where the next level of the fight in world dominance is going to be. And the next, I always say, I mean, I have a daughter and 14.
mhm.
That I just like try to teach her to think critically and work hard, because AI is just going to change so much for that generation that they're gonna. That I keep telling her, like, the job I have now didn't exist when I was your age. The job you have now is not even thought of. It's not even going to be, that's going to be a whole nother world that you're going to eventually do. Even though it's, 5 years later until she graduates or whatever, still in 10 years, where is AI going to be?
Yeah, right.
How are we
And
going to be using it?
it, right, like and then who's gonna be able to use it, you know?
Yes.
And
Well,
and
everybody's going to be able to use it, but who's going to be creating it? Who's going to be setting these parameters and these, maybe protections or non-protections, or we're always going to push the boundaries. Otherwise, how do we know? I mean, they've shut off AI machines. I mean, God, I've read that at least 3 or 4 times. It's like that, and this was several years ago where that they tried to hook up two, and they started talking, and they got their own language,
mhm.
and they couldn't understand what they were saying to each other. So, that doesn't play it.
But I feel like with this also, I feel like there's a lot of risk to it because then again, like, what if like we can still hack it or whatever, like hackers, like 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 how you just said, like if they got to their own language and then at one point they didn't understand what they were talking to each other, like how is if a hacker that good could hack, an AI, like robot machine, whatever the hell it is, like
But how fast can the AI learn to protect itself and not be hacked?
that's true.
Faster than you, probably.
Yeah. Most definitely. My stuck ass
Without
homie.
studying,
A little
I
high ass.
look. I don't know shit about this. I don't fucking know. I'm not smart enough to know most of this, but I know but when you hear the people who are in the forefront of it, they're a lot of the words I hear is parameters, and then what parameters are you setting on it, and how are we not allowing it to get out and do this crazy ass thing, or because it's going in directions that they're like, whoa, we didn't expect that. So we don't know. We have no idea. Again, we can, if we're narrowing down things, it's helping humanity and the planet, we can do that, or we also will be doing the other thing. So hopefully the protecting humanity and the planet is done pretty well. The other side doesn't, the Fermi pair. I think that's what we talked about last time about, are civilizations able to become interstellar and travel, interdimensionally even maybe, or just some interstellar way?
Mhm.
Or are we just gonna wipe ourselves out eventually, just like another extinction, just like we've had before in the past?
Oh, that's another thing we did talk about last time too. Just I did remember that. Yes, we did talk about that last time. Uh, but yeah, but apparently there was I think this is like the seventh or sixth civilization. We did talk about that deeply. Um, But yeah, man. I
And
mean,
where are we right now on the cusp of that? Are we allowing AI to allow to, because I mean, that would help us do space travel or not. I mean, it'd help us travel in space.
mhm,
So in ways that we wouldn't be able to do now. And just, I mean, look back at the early, launches that we had for our shuttles for NASA and stuff, and what the technology there is compared to now. Where the technology curve is, got when I was teaching, I used to do this thing. They have a graph of technology and how much it's improved throughout our lifetimes, and it's
mhm,
just this, and then it gets down to when it depends on where 1900 starts growing up, but then it just starts going up and up and up, almost exponentially, straight up. So almost all the technology that we've garnered is really late in our lifetime. It's really at the last, we're not, it's not like we've had this all along. Where's that going to be? And is that going to go exponentially better, or is that going to make it to where we knock us back?
but you don't think like it's gonna like outsmart us, like how people say sometimes, like how robots, might out go against us and shit like that or something like that, like.
I think if you're not thinking that, then I mean, and again, listen to the people who are on the forefront of this talk about it. They're every one of them says, "Oh yes, they make it in the world somehow." We don't know. Again, it could be doing what I say about AI though is that I think there's going to be like a some kind of industrial shift in AI, like Facebook did for internet. I mean, you had MySpace and stuff, but Facebook just changed internet to like a social, you know, media reality world. And then other things hop on, and and then you got Instagram and you have all that type of stuff. It just
Mhm,
changed the industry in so much way. Everything that did for that, all those jobs and all those industry things are because of that, and that's where it sprung off. I mean, that's where's AI, where's that thing AI is going to do for us that everybody's going to be like, holy fuck, this is, and it's going to change and create that, bigger. It's not that the internet doesn't go other ways and help other things and have other, I don't want to say timelines, but other lines that are creating other, positive or negative things, and it does.
mhm.
But the Facebook just, it's this big compared to these other little things, and I think AI is going to have that same thing. Somebody's going to invent something that's going to change just the trajectory and the way we look at it and how we use it, not how professionals in the highest level use it, in a way that it'll be, once the masses start doing it collectively, that's also going to change it. And what does that mean for more input for the AI? Because everything you're putting into AI is going back into AI. So it's going to read everything on the internet. And now instead of just having text reading, it reads imagery, it reads videos, it reads, so it has even more data sensory points, or I don't know what fuck you call that. So, it again, where's that curve going to be? I just think I have 30, 40 more years on this planet. I'm not going to get to the end where I even know. But this
Mhm.
younger generation is going to know, and they're going to know before midlife, and they're going to know probably before 30.
But that's crazy to know, like,
How old are you?
where I'm 24, bro.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're right there. You're on that cusp. And where's it going to be when you're 30? And how's this going to affect you, your life, government? I mean, it's not. It's going. If that's the thing. That's why I say that about my daughter is because it affects every aspect. It's not just like one part of an industry that affects this other things and these things and doesn't touch. It touches everything. I mean, it's going to touch, you know, government, federal government, state government, municipalities. It's going to touch almost, it already is, every single business of every sort, and how from accounting to marketing to, I mean, everything. It's just, there's not anything that it's not going to be able to eventually,
Do for us.
yeah, affect in some way if somebody, and if there's a need for it, somebody's going to figure it out and, figure something out for it.
But like, my question is like, you don't think like, let's say like like how you said, like it would like spark up, I guess, let's say opportunities and stuff like that. But like you don't think like once we get those opportunities, we're like how you also said, like giving it data, information, like like teaching it, wouldn't that at a certain point then it wouldn't be needing us and then AI would just be dependent on its own? Like, isn't that a little too scary?
Yes, I think all of it's scary. I mean,
Like,
again,
shouldn't like
I'm old fuddy duddy. I'm like, get off my fucking lawn, dude. I mean, this is beyond me. This is your generation's problem. I mean, I'm gonna have to deal with it, and I already am. But I'm trying. I mean, look, I'm fucking 50, and I'm using it, and I'm using it in a productive way that's helping me do what I want to do faster, easier, and still, again, keeps my voice and keeps me involved in my own, you know, copyright or whatever you want to say for it. So uh, they're just not. There's anything you can figure out in eventually in the future. AI is going to have some sort of, you're not going to be able to order a coffee. I mean, it's probably you're not already now. It's probably using it some way now. You're not going to be able to, probably drive. I mean, you're definitely not going to be able to drive anywhere without AI, helping in some way. I'm sure it's already doing that now. I'm sure Google Maps is all over whatever they're doing with it. So I don't. How many ways could it go bad? Endless, endless countable ways that it could probably affect us negatively, and it's gonna. There's gonna be plenty of
what
negative effects.
what is like the most, again, because what, let's say, let's just think out there, like what would be, what out of like all the probabilities going negative, what would be like the highest one that has the highest chance of actually like being true from what you think?
I don't know. I saw two of the experts or whatever in the field talking about it, but basically that kind of what you're saying, that it's some way it gets so much smarter than us, and it's way outthinks us in every move that we could do, and somehow figures out a way to take over that way. Um, but again, I mean, how many ways could it take over? It's not hard. Not to get back down in the downer here, but I mean, humanity is, the older you get, the more you're just like, man, I don't trust humanity. Sometimes it's a bitch, and it's fucking, life sucks, and people are treated bad, and
Uh-huh.
it's not fair. Um, and it's easy to see those things, especially if you're not seeing other things. And what if AI sees only those things? I mean, if AI doesn't see what it means to be, you know, part of a family, part of friends, part of a community in some way, part of things that make you happy and, strive for something as a human.
But then again, but then like that just makes it seem like you're just now being like a human. Now we gotta treat AI like a person, like an actual person, like
Well, what if AI thinks
uh,
it develops or does develop emotions?
that's fine. Come on, man. Like really? Like you're gonna be
I mean, then
like
what are we doing? Then what kind of emotions? And then how do you settle those emotions? I mean, we as humans,
right.
we can't handle our own emotions. Again, I always say guilt is the hardest fucking thing to hide. It's the hardest emotion to deal with. It's the easiest emotion for other people to see in people, because they're usually projecting whatever they're guilty about. Um, but we don't handle guilt well. How's AI going to handle guilt if it thinks it's going to do something and it says, I'm going to do this to fix this, and it fucks it up?
Uh,
It thinks it has guilt, or it does have a guilt. I don't know, whatever that means.
right. Even if what if it doesn't even know what guilt means to begin with? No, I'm sure
I
they
feel
do,
like
but
I'm in like what's his name? Lex Friedman episode right now.
oh my God,
I don't
don't
know
get
if
me
you know who that
started.
guy is.
Yes, yes, the dude with the tuxedo. Yes, I know what you're talking about, the suit.
Yeah, he always
Yeah,
does the same thing.
yeah, the
Uh,
black tie and the white shirt. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
yeah, it's always like, all right, now let's get to aliens. So
It's because I think everybody needs to know about aliens, man. I think aliens is it's been with us for a long time, even before than what even before we started to notice them popping out here, I think even like when we were even like probably in our caveman era, probably at that point, probably we don't know, but like something, man. I actually read an article, um, briefly. Well, actually, I saw it on TikTok, and at first I thought it was fake because I feel like a lot of shit on TikTok is fake. Um, but I had to Google it just to make sure it was legit. And I got a couple of news articles, and it's about a UFO appearing in O'Hare back in '06. I'm not sure if you ever heard about anything about that.
That was right above the car, the only one car that could see it.
I'm not sure, but this has
Oh
happened
no,
like
that was a different one that a bunch of people saw.
which one
Yeah,
was that one?
the one you're talking about, a bunch of people saw it.
Oh yeah, in the airport in
Yeah,
O'Hare.
yeah, at the
Yeah.
airport. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually teaching during that time. That was a long time ago.
Oh shit. Oh,
So
so
we had people talking about it. We talked about it in class. I think I remember. There's also another report. There's a guy who I can't remember his name, but he's like, you know, professor at Princeton, and then on his side gig, he just gives data on shit like this. And he doesn't say there is aliens, there isn't aliens. He says, here's the information and data, and then doesn't say anything else, basically. Although he's been a little more, I wish I could remember his name. He's been a little more, I guess, opinionated or whatever. Uh,
uh,
and then when he was asked, what do you think the percentage is that aliens are here? He said 100%. So anyway, he was talking about, and I'd never seen this anywhere else, but I guess it's in some kind of reports that they're in Chicago. There was, I think it was Chicago, that there was everybody was in a traffic jam, and these two people in a car were looking up, and there was like a weird, where it's kind of bent around, I don't know, a spade, whatever, and a UFO was just sitting there, was right there. So one of them got the phone out and took a picture of it. And then the picture just came out a glowing light with the same thing around it. Um, Nobody else saw it, just those two in that car. In
oh,
that car.
wow.
And they, he's like that in the interview I saw. He was like, "That's the thing I find the most interesting. How do we explain this?" And I'm into that. That's again, give me the data and the science, and what can we what can we prove and what can we not prove.
Yeah, but
All those things. I mean, there's I can't remember what government official wrote that one book, but it was the premise was basically the 5% rule, or not rule, but 5%, where it's the 5% of all the UFO sightings and whatever's that they can't explain. Most of them you can explain. A lot of them are hoax. A lot of them are just shit that we are doing. Probably a lot of them are just things that. So there's 5% that the Pentagon and everybody has, or the UFO chasers now, or whatever they're called, that they can't explain, or at least they're not explaining to us. And
I don't
the government put out those things about those little spherical balls and stuff. But I mean, who knows? Those could be ours. We could have
know.
created those. We don't know.
No, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like you're starting
There's a
to have
conspiracy theory for you right there. Although that's not much of a reach.
no, but yeah, but I don't know. It just got me really surprised and eager to learn more about it because I was like, oh, interesting, and like actual UFO, people saw it here, in like in the Chicagoland area, like the
I
O'Hare, like the busiest, like spot where planes and shit come in and out, and UFOs there, like that's crazy. In broad daylight too.
I again, I don't remember if I mentioned this. Maybe it's how we got into it last time. But when I was living in Charleston, going to school. Actually, I wasn't going to school. I was in the summer right before I graduated, but I only needed like two classes or whatever it was, and they weren't offering the summer. So I was trying to pick up a job, and I was like mentoring these kids. I dropped them off like Tolono, and I was driving back to Charleston on the highway, and I looked over, and there was some weird fucking disc-shaped gray thing hovering right over the field. And I wanted like to pull over and to go look at it, and I just didn't do it. The car was coming at me, he had his hand out the window and was going like this, pointing at it. And I just drove by it, but right before I got, when I was almost getting even, it went like this and just
Mhm.
turned like this and just went doosh and was gone. Um, I was so interested in like what the fuck was that I called up the Mattoon airport, and was like, "Hey, did you have anybody else call?" And they're like, "What?" And I was like, "All right, never mind."
Fuck, how to fucking
Just just
hide.
seeing some UFOs out here, no big deal. Just trying to see if anybody else is weird.
But I mean, I know you're down south in Illinois and all, but like, is there any like crazy shit down there, man? Like, or like the stories or something like like you've ever heard, down in southern Illinois,
For UFOs
or
or
just in general, anything, man, just in general.
hmm. Well, if you want to know about my past as a writer, I wrote a novel about the Mad Gasser of Mattoon, Illinois. Um, we didn't talk. Did we talk about that? I don't think we
No,
talked.
I just know that you used to
All
write,
right.
but
I did a ton of research and went and I got all the newspapers and looked up every. What happened was right during the World War II, right at the end where they thought the Nazis were gonna maybe give like a last ditch effort to gas everybody because they were losing and gonna lose, and it was September of 1941, I think. So there's 2 weeks that in Mattoon, somebody reported that somebody sprayed a gas and made them sick. Sprayed it in their house and made them sick. And so that got reported in the newspaper. And in the headline, it said, Mad Gasser takes first victim. Well, just the word first is implying that there's going to be more. So somebody reported it and they got gassed and they fell sick. And then for 2 weeks at a time, people were reporting a gasser going around and saying that they were getting ill by somebody gassing in the, spraying gas in their house and everything. So it was called the Mad Gasser of Mattoon, Illinois. And they actually blamed this guy named Farley Llewellyn, who, probably literally had nothing to do with it. I can't remember who did. I think the Times magazine came and did an article on it, and they had like a psychologist guy that was like a specialist in mass hysteria just say that it was just kind of weird mass hysteria, and then once it was gone, it was
Mhm.
gone. There was no, it was over, nothing, no more reports or anything.
So it was just like, so then what at the end? What was it? It was just
Mass hysteria, where people think, oh, this is happening, it's happening to me, and then you talk yourself into it.
so people were literally thinking that somebody was gassing their house and making them sick.
Yes, but you're also in the depths of World War II, where I mean, I don't know how many people have died by then, but I mean, the world's on the brink. You think we're on the brink now? We're not on the brink like we were in, 1941 in September or whatever. So that is in the consciousness of every newspaper article I was reading had war shit on it. I mean, around it, other articles about war and everything. And man, doing the research was so fun. I was getting so sidetracked reading other things, looking at ads, and just it's like, dude, just concentrate on what you're trying to do here. So, what I wrote is
Yeah.
I should have just went all fictional and blew it up and made it more entertaining, exciting. What I did is I just kind of did like I took all the people who were involved and then I turned them into characters and intertwined them all, and made it like a mass hysteria thing where there was, and I just reported exactly what happened as it happened and how it went away.
So as it mysteriously came, it mysteriously
Do
went
you want me to
away.
bring you a book if you get down to the craft show?
Oh hell yeah! And signed, please.
Yes, absolutely.
It's signed.
I haven't signed a book in a while. I mean, I left the literary world, and I just like I'm going to see if I can get away for any time.
What
And I did
else?
miss it. I missed the creativeness to it, but now I found some other things that work for me. So not like that was. I mean, to be honest, if a publisher came and said, right now, I'll offer you enough money to sit at home for 2 years and write a book, uh, Michael would be taking over Illinois Newsjoint because
Damn.
that's what I want to do. I mean, that's what I like doing. It's that's the happiest I am when I'm doing shit like that. So
What I felt like last time you didn't really get deep into all the books you've written or novels, I mean, but like what other novels have you written? Like what is
that
it like?
I tried to write a sci-fi thing, but it fucked up. What I need to do is go and pull out the cool shit and make it a small summer story or doing, which what I was thinking about doing. But I haven't written on anything really lately. The best thing I've written, what I'll say now is at least, is I wrote a novella. A novella is a short novel, so it's only like 79 pages. Uh,
Okay.
so it's like a long short story, and really it's more of a long short story than a novella. It's really short for a novella. So it's in my voice. It's about my hometown. It's about an incident that happened in my hometown about these two guys, that a tragedy happened, and it just sent them on two different fucked up directions for the rest of their life. And what I did is I started it, and it's in like 5 sections. Every section goes backwards, so each section jumps like 2 years ahead, and it unfolds, and tells you what happens until it gets back to what actually happened, that leads up to it.
So
So it's
so that
about
uh-huh.
basically people in my hometown that I just turned the story into an amalgamation of multiple things that I grew up with, and you just steal from everything when you're a writer. So it's not about one person or anything, but it's just about, and it's the closest, truest writing and the best voice I've had in anything I've written.
So then, like the backstory to these two guys, like can you tell us more a little more on that? Like,
You want me to just spoil alert it or what? So nobody's
yes.
going to read it and it's out of print, and I only got the only copies. Um, what happened is when I was a freshman in high school, a person I know, a girl I know, who I was kind of close to, uh, she was with a guy and they were leaving an after party and they got in a wreck and he flipped it over and knocked her out and it killed her. And those two people in real life, one turned into a complete meth head and the other one just fucking just ruined it. Those incidents like that, tragic, they ruin your lives. And if you're not getting real help and probably real counseling or real therapy or real something, it's gonna happen. And the meth guy, he I was when I published this, I was actually that was the first time I was ever worried about anything I've written, because I was thinking about, man, when I go home, is this guy gonna fucking club me in the back of the head now? Because he is still all tweaking and triple tricky than he ever was.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up dying in a house fire where he came home and passed out and burnt.
Damn.
Uh, so, which I wrote a rest of a full novel of this, and I don't want to say that I almost had exact ending as that or something, but it was very close. But I won't get into that. But anyway, so his life just, that one thing ruined it, and it ruined the other one. And in my story, there's three people, and because they're what, so they're all intertwined with each other, in relationships and drugs and other ways. It's called Championship Run because the narrator, two of the guys share they won a state championship basketball. And it's like that's paralleled, not actual games or playing. It's just like the story that them winning it is, him using up all his good luck in those times, and then the rest of his life is, going another way. So that would be something I think you'd definitely like. I mean, I was actually going to call it Sex, Drugs in Central Illinois, uh, but the publisher didn't like it so much. Championship Run made it fit metaphorically in three ways, because it was about the basketball run, and then the meth run that the two guys stay on and stay up as long as they do, and then this run for the relationship they're doing. So it's like a three-level thing that's intertwined.
Man, that does sound like a good ass story though, because it does.
Uh,
So wait. So then my question is, the girl that I guess died, that actually happened, or is that just in the book?
it happened, and the guy, when I finished the story before I even published it, I emailed the brother of her, the person who died,
Mhm.
who I graduated with. So we were fresh, or we were actually, well, we were actually, I was a sophomore, and man, no, I think maybe I was a junior, I guess, and she was a freshman. We were in the same class, and I emailed him, and I was like, hey, this is a, you know, basically, I was almost using a literary word for you, but it's like an homage to her and to me and the friendship we had, because I wrote this 15 or whatever 12 years after it happened. So it affected me enough that it stayed in me long enough, and then to release it subconsciously somehow, which sometimes is good for you and sometimes good for writers. So he took it to his family and they read it. One of them was like, "Oh, how could he be doing this?" And he understood. He's kind of understands art and smart and is a good person in general and everything. So he knows there's not any you know bad intent on my part on any of it. It's just a story that I had to write on my side, and it's not about her at all, really. I mean, it's about a situation and you know multiple things that I intertwined into a story. Man, I
Uh,
haven't talked literary stuff like this in a long time.
and then one more thing about this, and I'm just trying to get it together. And then these two guys were just like they just knew this girl that's why they kind of both got
Yeah, they
into
were
like
partying. Just we had after I think it was after a basketball game, a party. They left the party, driving home, and what happened was is the guy and the girl was in one vehicle,
uh-huh.
another guy was in the other vehicle, and they were like racing on the way home on the highway and into
Got
a town which has no stop signs but multiple crossroads and everything else. He was pulling out, um, and he pulled in front of him and tried to cut back in because a car was coming. And I actually know the person who was in that car too, and heard all their side of it. And I read all the paper reports on it. And he tried to pull back in the lane, pulled in too quick, and clipped the front and sent it, and then sent them into a ditch, which flipped it, and then flipped her out, and then landed on it.
damn,
And then they
gotcha.
stopped, and then I mean, they went to court about it, and there was a big, it was a big deal in our hometown.
Wow.
Truly tragic event when it's not like I'm from a where you have 14,000 people in your high school. I graduated with 130 people or whatever it is.
Shit, you'll be surprised with my graduated class, man. It's like around yours. And my high school was in the city. And like in
Well,
Chicago.
you know, actually they've done a better. It's not the same as it used to be when I was in actually high school, because a lot of times, like a lot of people I went to college with when I first went to college is like, boy, I got more people in my class than you have in your whole high school. It's like, we probably had 500 and some 600 people in our high school, but my hometown probably doesn't even have that now in high school, I would say.
But, oh wow. Yeah,
So I
yeah,
mean, it's
that
a small town, so everybody knows
oh
everybody's. What a small
yeah.
town gossip.
When
Everybody knows
yeah,
your shit, which
yeah,
can
when
be
it
good, but most of the time sucks when you're young.
yeah. Yeah, it will definitely get you that. But damn, so you're saying that this book is not out no more?
No, because it was published by a small press. Because no big press is publishing that, because that ain't gonna sell. But so it's university and small presses who publish those types of books. And
Okay.
they published it, and it went through a couple, runs or whatever, and then they went out of business, and he, got a big job somewhere and moved on, and they couldn't have time for it, so they stopped their publishing business. So it's
Yeah.
not published anymore. I could probably do it. I mean, I could literally do it myself, and I could publish it myself. I just don't give a fuck about it. I have probably 20 some copies left, maybe. I don't know. Um, I also I have several anthologies. So um, I have a Book of Donuts, which is just a complete anthology of poems that are about donuts.
Are you serious?
Yes, so I don't remember how many we have, 50 some poems, but all of them have some kind of reference or something to do with donuts.
Oh my God. Like about sprinkle donuts, about chocolate
Everything.
donuts,
Um,
the glazed donuts.
so then that probably got me one of the questions I've been asked the most of my life is, what's your favorite donut? Uh,
Uh,
then I have, I don't know how many you did, five or six. It's called Best of the Midwest, and it is an anthology that every year we publish that would find all the best stories that were set or written by Midwestern writers, and then we would collect them all, read them, and narrow them down to our what we thought was the best, and we give them to a final judge, like a bigger writer that had a bigger name than us, and they would judge and pick the 20. and then tell us who the rest of the ones were, and then we would publish those 20 yearly as the best of anthology. So it was like, people, things that people strive to get into, because it meant that you were getting recognized. Not only were you getting published, but you're also getting recognized through a best of, that you're better than the other ones that are getting published.
Gotcha.
And then I ran the literary magazine for 4 years, where we published poetry, fiction, nonfiction, and art.
Yeah, you did mention that on the first pod too. Yeah, because
I've read a lot of stories. I've read thousands and thousands and thousands of poems, hundreds and hundreds of stories.
gotcha, my guy. So I'm right bringing it back around the cannabis real quick. But like for stories wise, what has been, I guess, the most interesting one?
Oh, oh, reading wise?
Yeah, reading
Oh my
wise.
fucking god, that's a hard question. Jesus, that's holy shit. I mean, I could sit here forever and talk about writers and stuff I liked and what. I'd have to narrow it down to something.
But
Um,
but like under like the kind of like the same thing that you were talking about, or like you know like the type of shit like or like some alien shit, like mythical shit, or like like
well, literary writings
stuff like
doesn't
that.
have that, so we didn't publish.
Oh,
We published that. It's not like sci-fi or anything like
oh
that.
no, no,
There's
that
plenty
no.
of places that you publish that, but literary writing's more, you know, character writing. And I mean, although I like plot and stories, I definitely
Uh-huh.
have to have plot. But like The Lottery. Have you ever read that story by Shirley Jackson? It's something that you read in high school. It's about a community that gets together and they host a lottery, and you don't know what's going on. It's kind of a twist ending story that you don't usually see in literary, but so they host a lottery and everything. It comes down, and the person who gets it wins it. But what they win is they get sacrificed for the community every year. Oh my god! I just spoiler alerted The Lottery for you.
I feel like you never. I swear, I don't think I ever heard of that. You know what book I did read in high school? I remember The Farm. You read The Farm
Yeah,
before?
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably late. Actually, I just gave that to my daughter.
Uh,
Uh, Allegory. So
Yes, about the pig, Napoleon,
yes,
and,
allegory.
and
So one thing represents something, one thing represents something else. One animal or whatever. So
yes, yeah, yeah. But the lottery, oh my God, that sounds horrible. Thinking you're taking a dove, but you're actually gonna get killed. Oh my God.
well, the thing is, as the reader, what Shirley Jackson does is that she unfolds in a way where you don't know. At first, you think, "Oh, they're going to win." Everybody's excited. They're going, and everybody is excited because it's a yearly event. Except if
Mhm.
you're one person who, gets chosen, or loses, wins, or whatever you want to say, the lottery. And that's another thing, is it's named the lottery, so you think instantly, "Oh, it's going to be a good thing," but that's why the
Yeah.
twist is. I
Imagine if
didn't
that
really
was a
teach that
movie.
much. I don't know. There was a lot of stories that I liked teaching more than reading. It was more about I could name stories that I like teaching, but they're not anything that anybody knows, because when I was teaching the stories at college, um, because you motherfuckers will go look up something for 2 hours to try to find something on it instead of just reading the story that would take you 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So what I try to do is pick stories that nobody's read, that weren't on the internet, that anybody could have a comment on. And that was easy for me because I did the anthology. So all the first published stuff, and I taught stories that blew up later, that got famous, not famous, but in the literary, where they got, recognized a lot more and everything, the stuff that
Mhm.
I was teaching way before anybody else. And then I couldn't teach it anymore because people were writing about it and everything. So I would teach stories that nobody else knew or anything, on purpose. So they wouldn't have they couldn't find shit on it. They didn't have a preconceived notion on it, or whatever it was. Uh, so there's this one story about a guy that, just it's some dude who is from Ohio, that just, he had a book, or nine. He's not a big writer, but a story about this guy named Highway. And he does this thing where he he meets this older lady. So it's Miss Robinson thing. And she thinks, somehow mistakes him, that he is does pet psychic, like he's a pet psychic and he can understand their dog.
Like a
And
like a dog whisper or something like that.
yeah, so she's asking him about the dog and why the dog's sad. Metaphorically, everything he's saying is about him being a virgin and not getting laid and wanting to be laid. But on the surface, he's just telling her, oh, she wants this, or she's, and, which is true, but it's also exactly what he wants. And then they meet again and he does it again. And he thinks she, she says, what's wrong with him? And he says exactly what he's feeling. And then she says, do me. And she puts her head and touches him. And when I say, and what the assignment is for that day is, what does she mean by do me? And what she means is she wants him to do her psychically. But in his head, he's overwhelmed with,
Yeah, like sexual
yes.
shit. Yeah.
So, and you can tell which ones in my class were overwhelmed with sex, because some would be like, oh, it's a double meaning, and it could be both, and that's really the answer. But most of them will say, oh, he wants it, and it's like, no, she's an older lady. He's just in his head that he's thinking like she doesn't want to fuck him. Well, actually, I kind of did, but she doesn't want to fuck him. She's
Uh-huh.
get her dog, and she's married, and like it's you're in a different world, so. I love teaching that because I like to see where the people were at with the double meanings and it's a good assignment on projection, which I think is one of the greatest things I've ever learned about reading other people. Is
Uh-huh.
if somebody volunteers you something that you don't ask for information, especially if it's suspicious, watch out. They're just projecting something. They're hiding something. They're doing or they're blaming you for what they're doing, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a great writing tool to do for characters because you can, and especially when you can make it where it's you're saying words that mean normal words like people would talk, but there's a deeper level that it has that you can understand in a different way that you know so I just love that story. I
That was a good
Any of
one.
my
You
students
got
ever
me.
remember it,
That was
but
that was a good one.
then
You
there was
got
another one
yeah, I was
by
gonna say you got another one?
Tom Parada. He is the guy who wrote. They made an HBO series about it. Awakening, or no, is where they all ascended to heaven. I don't know if you ever seen that HBO series, but anyway, he wrote this satirical baseball story about a small town and their baseball team, and this dad uh, and a coach, and it is so image driven about being happy on the surface and all these things that are going well, just like watching a happy everything you would want to know about a small town little league baseball game that's as good as American Pie. Everything underneath it is everybody fucking hates everybody else, and at the end there's this big fight, and it kind of has the same thing where you're saying one thing on the surface, but everybody is always they don't like the guy and they're saying stuff about him, and under their either through the narration or just through actions or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Writing's about implication, so if you can imply something without actually saying it, that's the best style. That goes for writing, memes, anything creative. Implication is the key. So if you can, but the thing is, you got to lead them to this one step, and that takes them. They'll take it to the next step and get there. If you get them all the way there, sometimes that journey ain't as fulfillful.
Yeah.
Boy,
Uh,
I forgot. You got me. I do miss teach writing. Boy, I miss teaching writing. Wow.
no, that was that's good, man. That's a good. I feel like I'm on a fucking lesson here with you, man, tonight. Like just stoners, just talk. But so this is what anthropology, right? Or is it this is what is this what
Mythology?
yeah, ethology,
What
ethology.
about which one?
No, I'm just saying in general. Like what we're talking about here is ethology, right? Like this is what we call it. This is what you call ethology.
An anthology is a collection of either stories or poems, or really a collection of anything that you bring together under some theme or name or whatever.
Oh, okay, okay. So this is just
So if you're anthologized, that
uh,
means you have something that got published in some kind of book series or whatever it is. And really, real anthologies are like the ones they teach, whatever young writer and stuff wanted in was the books they teach at college that they teach literature and writing in, because those you get paid for that, and You know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students are reading your writing. They're writing papers about it and stuff. And it's fun. I mean, I've had students write about my papers, and I've had other teachers teach my writing in their class. Um, if you're in college right now and you go and look up on the book library thing, you know, there's shit of mine on there. That's always great. And if you want to read something of mine, um, Google the Kenyon Review, Jason Lee Brown, left
Like
leg,
what? The what again?
the Kenyon Review, or
Canyon.
Jason Lee Brown, left leg. I wrote a little bitty, like a short. It's one of my favorite little quirky short things that I've ever written too. So um, that got a lot of attention. And then I got another story. It was about, I wrote a story about a town that I lived in for a while where they were trying to get rid of the name Redskins. That was their high school nickname, Redskins.
Mm-hmm.
And some like 40, 50-year-old guy got up there and cried at the county board, at the school board meeting because of it. And I couldn't get over that when I was covering it. So I wrote a story about it. And it's about, you know, them getting rid of the name. And I didn't take a side on the story. I'm just kind of going back and forth and showing both sides and everything. But that story got so much response because whatever side they were on, again, projection. You know, I wasn't, you know, advocating for anything, just laying it out kind of both sides through narration and character. But
Mm-hmm.
they were like, oh, you know, how could you on this side would do the same thing? That's when you know you got them. Both sides are bitching about it. That's when you know.
Yeah, right. Something you're doing is right. Oh my God.
But I
Oh.
never wrote about weed. I mean, weed was in. I mean, the novella definitely has weed in it and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But that was like not so much. Not even. I mean, there. You know, it would make references or something, but it was never. That's not things you. I mean, it's not as important really. And if you're writing about it, then it's got to be so important to the story that it's got to do something for it or against it or earn the ending, as I'd always say.
So
I
like
tried to write a story about a grandma using medical cannabis in a co-op, not a co-op, what do you call the two houses when they're next together? Oh my gosh. Whatever, the when the dual houses are literally connected together. And I tried to write a story about a young guy who was living next to an old grandma who was on medical marijuana. But I didn't get the story written so fast, and then they passed laws, and then you know, then it's outdated.
yeah. So like going back to like the cannabis and just like the news joint review writing like articles of like the news, the laws and all like cause I know you post a lot of like laws and stuff like that, the articles stuff like that. So like what has been like going the recent thing that you wrote that has made you be
The one that
like
gets
what the
all the responses.
yeah like what the fuck.
It's the omnibus bill every year, which has all the weed things in it. So drive up, medical for everybody, and some other stuff like that. And just little technical shit that they need in the industry that keeps getting blocked. That's nothing that it's not helping your. There's no stakeholder, anybody like I don't want that. It's just not getting through because other shit, and other things are in it. Then the hemp bill. The hemp bill is the thing that everybody's waiting on. I mean, that hemp bill is they're going to come back to that, and something's going to happen. And I really don't know. Usually, I kind of have a feel for stuff like this, but I don't know what they're going to do. So we're going to see. The other thing that's coming down the pipeline that I'm trying to find out when, and I can't find out, but I'm sure they'll announce it at some time. But is the Supreme Court's going to have to somehow announce what they're going to do about that oral arguments they heard about the two court cases that they argued that cannabis alone, aroma alone, is not enough for probable cause. They're going to have to decide on that, and I think they're doing that at the end of this year or whatever. At the end of, when they come back to session or whatever. But I don't even know when they come back to session. I do know when uh, the House and the Senate for Illinois come back, but I'm not sure about Supreme Court here.
Well, I didn't hear about that. Would you want to elaborate a little bit more on that though, about the aroma and stuff? Like,
Yep, if you put aroma alone and Google on our website, I wrote all about it. So I told all what arguments on both sides, what they said, and everything. And you can watch the whole video on. I mean, they have the whole thing. They have to record everything. It's public access. So
hmm.
they recorded the whole arguments. So what happened is they got pulled over, and what the defense teams are arguing that using cannabis smell alone without any other causes should not be probable cause alone by itself to say I'm going to search the car for that reason. Now, if there's other reasons involved, and you're swerving and you're fucking pie-eyed, and, but not just that one thing. And then because the arguments there's plenty of arguments again. If you work in, geez, if you work in a grow room,
Uh-huh.
you
Yeah, you're
smell.
gonna be super, yeah, you're gonna reek every day.
You work in a cannabis dispensary in the back, even in the front, really, for most of them. But if you work in the back constantly and you're stocking and packing and you're around, it stinks back there. You're gonna stink. There's other ways for it to stink. One of the cases is the defendant said, he said it smells like weed or something, and he said, yeah, somebody smoked in here a while back or something before. I can't remember what it was, like a while back or something, but
Mm-hmm.
not now, I think. And so that's one. And then the other one I thought was probably actually a little better argument. But it was a similar thing, is that they just used the smell of weed to say, I'm going to search your car.
What as well, like would it, wouldn't that also consider them a DUI? Wouldn't that one to perpetrate that considered the driver or whatever as a DUI because the driver smells like weed?
Well, again, I mean, that is what, if you read the thing or watch it, that's there was a couple of judges that's what they were saying is, can't we, do we have something? And we don't, but do we have, and can we have something like the breathalyzer that tells us, is there's, where's the spot that we can drive safely or not drive safely, and what that is. And so, but we don't have that. I mean, even a blood test and all, that's not telling you. I guarantee you, my blood test and how I function with cannabis in me is not the same as somebody who doesn't smoke weed.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, what the dirty secret is, and there's art studies that kind of prove this, that or at least say in this direction. If you do more, I think it would probably prove it. Is, I think the dirty secret is, it doesn't really affect you that much. If you're a stoner and you get high and you're driving, you're not fucking drunken driving. It's not the same. It's two different drugs. It's two different effects. It's two different, it's different things. Um,
It is, and I think that's where it kind of messes it up when people say that they wanna look cannabis as the same as alcohol because it's
and
not at the end.
But there also, that same study that I was talking about also said, if you're not a smoker, and they had non-smokers who would, they'd blaze
Yeah,
them up,
yeah.
right? They fuck, don't do that. That's probably not a good idea. That's not where you should be.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's like, where is that balance, and how do you tell where those people are? And sobriety tests are hard to give people who are stoned. And dude, if I'm driving for 2 hours with my chronic pain and I have to get out and try to walk a line for a cop, I'm gonna have fucking issues for man, because I'm sore from driving. Because first of all, I can't eat edibles and drive, because it does affect me in a different way than other people, I think, because my muscles and chronic pain makes it, feel like, not that I'm drunk head wise, but I don't like my reaction time. So I don't fuck with that. So whenever I travel and everything, I can't medicate like I usually do. And so by the time I get there and wherever the fuck I'm at and I get to the hotel, it's usually like, where's the edible? And I'm chucking edibles in my mouth.
No, that's a little interesting, man. And but
Those are the three things. Pay attention to those. That's coming up in a couple months, few months.
got gotcha. I might have to actually read the article then and look at the video then of the argument.
Yep, all of those are on. We wrote in detail about all of those. So,
Gotcha. But
and there's always some more. I'm sure that, I mean, who knows? They can actually introduce something brand new at that veto session. I mean, it's not just the vetoes. They can write a new bill and get it through, and if they really, really wanted to. So, I mean, there could be something different. We don't know. I mean, I don't know. So, there's always usually one surprise during the voting and veto sessions, and even when they assemble in the spring too. So, we'll see what happens.
yeah, we'll see, man.
I think maybe a little bit of my political aspects and outlooks on stuff is that I've covered it so long that it's just like all I see anymore is two sides playing a game, and how they play it and which way they play it, and you know who's doing it right or wrong or ethical, unethical, or whatever it is. So I think the longer you get to do that, the easier it is just to you know report the news without having an opinion. And I don't again, I don't need to tell people our opinion. I don't like. I'm not a. I don't. I'm opinionated, but I don't like to tell people my opinions. I mean, if you ask and you want to know, I'm happy to fucking tell you. So that's not
Yeah.
the problem. I'm not that type of person. So reporting on things is easier for me, and I think, than other outlets that want to, you know, you know, say I don't know whatever whatever they're doing, however they're reporting it or whatever. There's journalistic journalism ethics that you follow, and protocol that you do if you're an actual journalist. So that's we're trying to do that. Wow,
Gotcha.
that's
Okay.
not pompous ass motherfucker right there. But it's true. I mean, and I think we're one of the. I don't. I mean, is there anybody else doing it? I don't think there is.
That's covering Illinois
Just
cannabis
covering
like
it,
you.
just covering news straight down the line without opinion or without saying, you know, being part of the story. I don't want to be a part of a real story. And if you're a reporter, you're not the story. You know,
Hmm.
you're the reporter. You're reporting what happened. If you're the story, then that's a different type of journalism, or a different type of reporting. I'm not even sure if sometimes that's journalism, because that if you're doing that, that means you're putting opinion in it too. So, but there, I mean, opinion journalism, and we can have op-ed pieces. That's not that's a thing. That's just not straight up journalism, though.
I got you.
And
I
I
got you.
say as if we're fucking breaking stories right and left. That's not what we're doing. But we don't cover, there's not that much news in that way, all the time. But when it does come down to that news, I'm going to cover it as good as anybody, or at least try to cover it as good or better than anybody else.
Yeah, because you're trying to be as factual and as direct as possible. Um, but like besides that, is there anything else like here in Illinois, like that you've covered? Because I know if you covered like so a lot of dispensaries been opened up. I know you post a lot of like
Yeah, we can't
open.
keep up. We
So
can't keep up. Yeah, there's just so many. Um, I'm trying to think of
are
some.
you going by any chance to that Rise concert or?
No, because that's the same day we're hosting our event,
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
September 7th. So, uh,
Okay.
yes, if you want me to plug it, the Illinois Craft Showcase is September 7th from 12 to 7 p.m. at Molly's Joint in Tilton, Illinois, which is a little south of Danville.
Yeah.
It's a
You
cool
guys,
place.
yeah, you guys have a good lineup though. I seen it, and then the
We
vendors and the
have
sponsors today.
we have there's only a handful of licensed craft growers and infusers who are not going to be there. So we tried to get almost every single one, at least to, I mean, that's the point, is to showcase and let people know that they're out there. There are a few of them that are just coming online right now. I mean, I just talked to one last week when I was putting the flyers in dispensaries that they'll have products in dispensaries this week. So that's how close they're cutting it. And there's another one that's not going to be ready, so they're going to give non-infused
got
samples.
gotcha.
Because
So then, so then, like for one that's going to this showcase, and I'm like might be the last topic, but for someone who's going to this event, like what are they gonna be expecting? Like, of course, the consumption, full consumption and all, but like, is this where like is this like an event where you can shop at the booth from these vendors, or is this just all just like type of like just tasting like stuff?
it'll be samples at the booths, and then probably samples to give out from them. And you can a lot of the I mean, we're trying to get if whatever they have sampled out. If you want it, you can get into Parkway and buy it. So if you want to buy it, you have to go inside, but none of the vendors can sell because that's illegal. Um,
Okay.
but the samples will be given out and you can try the samples. So if you try, I mean, we have 23 booths, I think, of craft growers and infusers. So that's a lot of brands that you'll be able to try for 7 hours. And if you like something and you think it's good or something, you'll be able to go get it. Most likely, I wouldn't say that. There might be stuff that, because a lot of stuff's just coming online. And actually, it takes a couple weeks to get your, you know, okay from the state to get like, to send to a certain dispensary or whatever it is. So everything takes time.
Gotcha. All right then,
We
my
have
guy.
8 dispensaries that are represented, and then we have the other vendors that you saw that were on the flyer that I put out that, are, I mean, they're basically the sponsors for it.
The ones that are gonna be like sampling and stuff like that.
No, the craft growers are just there to be our showcase. And then the vendors we have, they're the ones who are sponsoring and making us where we're not losing money.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
So they're coming and sponsoring the craft grows, and then either we have what we try to do is mix it up. So we have apparel people. There's a cannabis testing the Cannatrol people that we work with that I am using right now, literally, are going to be there. They have like this little dry and cure machine. It's like the size of a wine cooler.
Mhm.
It's like curing cheese technology is what it is that they've taken and adapted to cannabis. That I can chop my homegrown and put it in, and it dries in 4 days and cures in 4 days. And I don't have a dry facility or area in my house, and it's been hurting my grow. So I'm hoping this is gonna, step up my game.
Mhm.
And it's small area and it fits and it's so they'll be there. It's just a bunch of different, you know, trying to think who else is all there. There's uh, Canna Comedy Company who we like working with. They'll be there. So we try to have a little eclectic group that's not it's not 5 glass blowers or 15 you know genetic sellers or something, although we have some.
Gotcha, my guy. But
We're
before
excited. I think I'm about this is probably the most excited I've been for an event, even though I couldn't get excited about the academic cannabis conference because it stressed me out too bad, to the point where I was physically it was hurting, literally. I mean, it was hurting. So I don't think I got to enjoy that at all.
is
I'm
that
getting to
because
enjoy this a lot more, so I think.
you said like like some vendors didn't pop
Yes,
out?
it's just not just that. I mean, that
Oh,
was way, way bigger budget, because we were trying to bring in writers and I was trying to get bigger sponsors, and one of the bigger sponsors dropped out right at the last second, and we had to work out a different. And, it's just and that
damn.
sponsor made it the difference between breaking even and losing money. So I mean,
Wow.
it made it a big deal.
Yeah.
So I mean, you just never know. Again, I keep saying also that if I was your age, I wouldn't be able to do this job because Jason at your age would be like, or was like, fuck you, dude, get out of my face. Fuck me over, I'm gonna, hate you the rest of my life in some way.
Uh-huh.
Now it's just like, it's not personal. And the person we worked with, I felt completely sad and sorry, and like just worked their fucking ass off to get this done. And then the people above her are like, no, we're not going to do this. Um,
Wow.
but so I went back at them, and we just can we work it out this way? Can we do this? And we figured out, instead of blowing up and lighting everybody up on social media like every younger person does now, there's other ways to get. There's long games of younger people, and I didn't have when I was younger that I have now. Problem is, I don't have such longer way to go. So I wish I would have learned that earlier, but that's what youth's for. So you can fuck it up and live it.
Yeah, man, but sometimes we're catching up. We're playing catch up with time, so I guess you gotta pick your poison.
Well, I would never social media when I was in my younger when I was your age.
Mhm.
No, I don't know, man. Wow, I don't think. I guess we would act different and have to be different if it was that. So it doesn't exist like it does now. But just having photos of some of the stuff I did back then was bad enough. So there's no way I want recordings of every single thing I've ever done when I was your age.
This man.
I would definitely be in jail for felony or something, I'm sure. Again, it
But
is surprising what some of you guys put on the Instagram and social media and TikTok, and
but like extreme like in what ways though?
I don't know, just in illegality in, you know, I mean, there's, I guess you're in a Facebook group, but it's not hard to get in a group if you're a fucking narc or something. And there's just people in there showing their grow with 15 plants and shit. And it's just like that again. I mean, what's the point?
Hmm.
You're just showing you're doing something illegal and makes it look like other people are doing it, and you're hurting other people who are doing it or hiding it better than you. And you're hurting the people who are doing it legally, like me. Gets pissed because I still want more than 5 plants.
That hypothetically, I start to have my own grow too. I'm doing it outside though, so I have three right now currently. And I'm just letting Mother Nature do its thing, man. But I'm actually thinking of doing indoor, in the fall.
I did the meme and I mean it, and this is one I created myself. But I said, if you grow once, expect to grow for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
because there's something to it, and medically, I my weed I like smoking my weed better, especially when I do it well and I nail
E-
it.
Everyone says that. Everyone who grows their own shit says they love
They
their own
said the same
shit.
thing to me, and I was like, "Oh, hippy dippy bullshit." But nope, there's something to it. There's some simpatico between your weed and you growing it, and how it affects you, and you interact with it. There is something to it. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm learning, and it's interesting. It's an interesting process,
It's all
and yeah, it's
like
I'm
anything else.
just
Make
going with the
mistakes, correct them.
yeah, and I'm just going with the vibes, man. Just trying to give them good vibes every day.
Oh yeah, they like to be in talk to.
So yeah, my guy. So I think this wraps it up for today's episode. Do you have anything else to say before we wrap it up?
No,
Anything?
I was really all over the place on this one. Yeah.
Yeah, we were, man. It was a good ass show. I ain't gonna lie. It was a long one, I can tell. But it was a good one, my guy. Again, we appreciate you coming back on the show. And just giving us your time again. And as always, man, it was just a great vibe having you, and hopefully we'll get to see you again, either on a vlog or on another pod later on. But for sure, my guy, you already know where to come to next, as always.
Thanks for having me.
All right, then, my guys, ladies and gents, this was Jason from Illinois News Joint, and we'll see you till probably the next episode or vlog. Have a good one. Take it easy.